A kind day to you all. I'm Kinsmark,
I'm Violeta.
checking in after several weeks away, and I cannot tell you guys how much I have actually missed the hell out of streaming. Actively so. I had that
The stream itch.
aching feel a few days, like every one of our like scheduled days that I spent away. I was just like, it feels so strange to actually to stay away from streaming for this day, because catching anyone up that may have missed any of the announcements that preceded the couple of weeks that we spent away, and may have some curiosity about the cause for all that. I had to go and help out my mama because she had some surgery, and so because she just refuses to let anything get in the way of her life and her plans, despite the fact that her recovery post-surgery was supposed to happen around the same time as her starting up the opening for the fruit stand, though this season it's more of a nut stand, that she runs as a retirement gig. She was just like, screw it, I'm doing it anyway. And I was just like, all right, well, you're going to hurt yourself, so I'm going to come help. And I'm going to do all the heavy lifting for you for the first few weeks. That way you can actually get to a more healthy state again, and I don't feel guilty letting you hurt yourself, because I love you, Mom, but you're gonna. So, yeah, that was why we were out of town. And, yeah, man, I learned some things. I stepped a few days in some shoes that were not my own, and man, fruit stand is hard work.
It's gonna be okay.
Show some love to the people that handle your locally grown food, because that takes some effort. And as much as I'll just allow myself to gush about this for a few minutes as folks trickle in, as they see, like, oh my god, Last Level Press is actually streaming again. I thought they stopped. I thought they died. Because, man, weeks worth of absence in internet time, it's an eternity. So, anyway.
Okay. We have people.
Checking in with chat.
Chris the Pyro says heyo.
Hey, how goes?
And the nut stand also turned you Swedish for a bit. Marcus says howdy. Bunny says lol. Cliffy Poo said nuts.
I assumed the role of the nutmonger. So I had fun with it. I actually have
Way
about
too much fun.
I have about 10 days worth of little like 30-second short clip comedy skits that I did just for fun up there. So y'all can look forward to that. I'm going to release like one each day for the next week or so. So anyway, I already had an astronomical amount of respect for my mom, because saving y'all the sob story and the stress and stuff, for almost 10 years of my life, she raised me alone, single mom, working for friggin' law enforcement, like, was not easy for her, and yet I hardly ever felt any of the impact of the stressed conditions that we actually lived in for a while. She made every effort to make sure that I didn't have to, and so I have respected the ever-loving hell out of my mom since I was an eensy-weensy little kid, and then seeing her steadfast determination, despite the fact that she had the surgery is because it was a cancer surgery. Thankfully, it was caught extremely early, and so they were able to remove it all. So all of her prognosis for recovery and stuff looks awesome, and that is super great news. Still, though, heavy stuff, and she was just like, nah, I don't care if my recovery time is overlapping with me opening for the stand. This is the thing I want to do, and this is what I've chosen to do for my retirement, so damn it, I'm doing it. And I'm just like, anyone else would just delay the season, or maybe skip this season. She was just like, nah, it's happening anyway. I'm like, my god! Just indomitable is the only word I could possibly conjure up for her. So, seeing that firsthand, it was inspiring. So.
Marcus says your mom is a true woman of steel.
She really is, seriously. And like, there's a.
Is there no sound on this menu?
Now, this menu has always had that weird quirk of they'll play the theme song for like 1 minute, and then after it stops, it doesn't loop.
Okay, so it's not. There's not something wrong.
No.
It's not broken.
This menu just falls eerily silent after a while.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
Also, I love these statue things. Just for the record, they look awesome. So where was I going with that? Oh yeah. Suffice it to say, I'm planning on announcing several things over the course of the next month, maybe more, because the message that I sort of took away from the experience of helping her out and seeing her determination to just do things despite the fact that maybe she was or wasn't completely able or ready to do so. She was just like, no, I have the intent and at least the fundamental capability to do this, so I'm going to. I sort of had to hear that and to see that and to live that with her and to help her do it, to see that that's something that I hadn't done over the course of the last year or so. So there's a lot of stuff that I've wanted to do and I just haven't, because I just kept endlessly planning for every little this or that complication that could maybe come about, and I would plan so much for so long that I would never actually get around to doing those things. And so I came home with the intent to stop doing that. And so we also, she and I spent like all of yesterday, almost start to finish, the entire day, chatting about a more mature and like realistic approach to the channel and how we're going to change a few things up. Some are fairly significant changes. They aren't necessarily changes in the content that you guys are going to see, just to head off any concerns. We're actually probably going to end up doing more rather than less. We are going to change up the structure of the channel, though. I'll just give a little preview for you guys here in the live stream audience, because a lot of you guys are the core pillars of the community, and I'm willing to give you all the little sneak peek of what's going on. Suffice it to say, it's evident now, looking at analytics data for channels across YouTube, that attempting to appeal to multiple audience demographics in terms of the types, more specifically the durations of videos that they consume, doesn't work anymore, if it ever did. So us as a channel having my like sub 5-minute format of Mod Spotlights alongside multi-hour episodes like live stream exports like this means that we're going to end up changing up and creating a few side channels as places for things that don't necessarily fit within the relatively short duration game content centric focus of the main channel. We're going to make some side channels for things like archives for the live streams, like the vlogs and stuff like that. So we've got a lot of plans for that. There's a lot of work that's going to go into that, like a lot. So I've sort of handed her the keys and said, congratulations, you've wanted to help for a lot of things for a long time. I'm handing you a day job.
Yep.
She's handling a lot of the archiving and the exports to those side channels. So you guys are not going to see any of the effort that goes into that until they're already launched and pretty much done. So just acknowledgement from the start. You're doing a thankless job. I will thank you in advance, even if no one else does.
Thank you, Bella. I appreciate it.
Because I recognize the mountain of work that it's absolutely going to entail.
It's important for our future, so I'm happy to do it.
And I looked at, to a certain degree, it isn't healthy to compare oneself to people who are successful in the way that you want to succeed. However, that is only true to a certain extent. You don't need to do that emotionally. Professionally, however, like objectively, it is still a good idea to look at what are people who are successful at the things you want to succeed at doing to reach that success. And so many of the people that we look up to and that we run similar channels to, or rather our channel right now, they do that. People like Team 4-Star, people like, hell, even Threadbanger, people like the Game Grumps, like Game Theory, all of these people, hell, even like Channel Awesome, they cut their stuff up so that I just heard the subscription drums and I haven't even played anything yet. So cheers, thank you.
Ghost is here and says, "Hey all," and he also has a subscriber thing.
Awesome.
So
maybe he re-upped.
I don't know who it was because of course it doesn't tell me.
Yeah. Thanks, Twitch. Could the chat actually show me who I need to thank in particular? Because I love to give individual shoutouts.
It might on yours, but it doesn't apparently on mine.
Even though you're a moderator. Man, that's weird.
Even though I'm a moderator. Yep. And Ghost says you're welcome.
So it was Ghost. All right, cool. So cheers, matey. Thank you. So anyway, all that is to say that it's the reason, for anyone that doesn't know, that channel administrators who do the multi-channel thing for putting one type of video here for another type here on these different channels is because the analytics don't necessarily like, having that multi-duration format all in one place. The algorithm doesn't know what to do with that. So that, I think, is why, despite the fact that we are over 3,000 subscribers strong on the main channel, awesome, thank you guys, and yet I see less than 100 views on average for most of our stuff, with the exception of mod spotlights, and even those, it's just a couple hundred maybe. There's a few that spike into the thousands. Those are definitely the exception, though. Mod spotlights are the strongest format on the channel, absolutely. It's just, even they don't necessarily see the ratio of views on average to channel subscriber that an algorithmically favored channel should have. And so I've had to look at it through the context of, yeah, the system is kind of glitched. However, I have to assume some level of failure and of mismanagement on my part, because if I know enough to complain about a system that has problems, I should also then know enough about how to work around those problems, because if I'm aware enough about them to complain about them, then I know what they entail and therefore should know how to get past them. So that's on me as a manager to do. So anyway, all of that is to say that a lot of change is coming over the next few weeks. We're not going to do it all at once. It's all going to get staggered out. All of these are going to get announcements officially on the channel proper. I just wanted to let you guys here, who are the core community, know ahead of time that a lot of stuff is going to take place on this side of the camera for several weeks, maybe months, because again, I recognize that especially the task load that I'm handing her is monumental. And again, I thank you, because that means that I can focus entirely on creating instead of having to divide my attention from these things like the export over to VidMe, which I'm also handing to her, that were occupying hours of my time.
To tell me it was gonna be me.
I mentioned that.
You didn't mention that I was in charge of VidMe.
Oh, okay.
You did not mention me and VidMe.
Okay. Well, you're doing VidMe.
Okay.
That one's easy though. It's literally just copy paste links.
Okay.
It's easy. It's just time consuming. And then also just creating playlists. Okay. Again, easy though.
Can do.
So the fact that it is time consuming though means that those were starting to get in my way of creating the daily stuff in a timely manner.
Yep.
So
which goes into the answer for a question a ways back.
Yeah.
Which was about Clear Sky.
Oh yeah.
And what happened to it. That's by Marcus.
I ran out of time prior to taking this trip that we just got home from to do another Clear Sky session. I meant to. I honestly did. I wanted to within that last 3 days.
We will be doing that.
Yeah, that's the first thing I'm going to record now that we're home again. I've spent the last day or so planning out, okay, all right, we have these plans. I need to hit the ground running. We need to start setting them into action now so that we can start forming these habits and start getting the foundations laid instead of just stagnating on them. This is what I was talking about earlier, just planning endlessly instead of actually doing. I want to do this. That's why yesterday when we were discussing this, like at lunch, we didn't have anything else to really do for that afternoon. So we were like, you know what? Since she's going to end up shouldering a lot more of the workload, then let's go to Fry's. Let's actually get her some new hardware so that she can work more comfortably and more efficiently. So y'all can't see it because it's over there. She's now got a cool little desk set up here in the office with a nice wooden desk. She's got her desk chair. We got her a new mouse pad, sort of.
No,
we got her a new mouse.
Really. We got you a new mouse pad. And I have cannibalized the old one.
I've got like aircraft aluminum grade cool, like super flat mouse pad. I love this thing. We got her a new mouse.
I have a new mouse.
Wasn't there a third thing? Oh yeah, we got a nice like metal cased 64 gig flash, so that when she's that way when she's moving over stuff from the main channel to one of the side channels, then I can essentially just, as the more manager role, just like I can load this thing up and say, here's your workload for the day. Yep. Go export it.
Yep. And Miss T is here.
Cheers. Good to see you.
Yeah, we have shifted our setup a bit so that it will allow more easy working space for both of us.
Yeah.
Because the area I am currently in, this position not good
no,
for.
It's not a good work position.
it's not even really that good at the whole stream thing. I hurt every time we are done streaming.
We just kind of make it work with this setup. It's not ideal.
It is so far from ideal, you don't even know.
Ghost, you've seen it now.
It's so bad.
That was the first thing, actually, come to think of it. I know we've just kind of sat here on a menu. There's a lot of stuff I wanted to catch you guys up on, though, because we have spent several weeks away, and I've missed you guys. So, anyway.
We're getting all of our talking out as we go.
Anyone that didn't know, and Ghost, apologies if you wanted to, like, not tell people.
Ghost is watching but can't hear for a little bit.
Okay, cool.
So, he can't hear us talking about him.
Oh, well! He actually came down to visit us a couple of weeks ago.
To meet Ghost, which was awesome.
Yeah, he came down and he spent about a week with us, and I thought it was a little humorous. One of the first things out of his mouth as soon as he set foot here in the office was just like, "Wow, this is a lot smaller than I thought. Y'all make it look huge on camera. Nah, this is a cramped space."
Oh, it is tiny. It is tiny.
That's part of why
we work really hard to make it not look as small as it actually is.
Y'all who thought that I was overstressing my concern for how the camera looks and how the contrast sheet looks, that's why I do it, because I want to make it look like a spacious void over our shoulders that we can also contrast against.
It's supposed to look
nice. Let me see. Okay, the span of my fingers plus about 3 inches is the space from her head to the wall. So
it's very cramped.
Yeah.
Getting up is fun. No, not really, actually. Let's see. Chris Para says, Ken, did you hear the story of how I made my kitchen explode into glass?
I did not.
No,
that
sounds dangerous, and I hope everybody is okay. You are okay.
That sounds about like the time I exploded a Pyrex pan.
Right in front of our faces. We almost got face full of Pyrex shrapnel.
Almost got Pyrex and potato shrapnel.
Yep. That would have been a very awkward trip to the emergency room.
What were you doing? I was cooking scalloped potatoes. Anyway.
Apparently Pyrex does not go on the stovetop.
No, it doesn't. I didn't know that until that day.
It needs to be evenly heated. It can go in the microwave. It can go in the oven. It cannot go on the stovetop. Lessons learned.
Lessons learned the hard way. So, anyway. All that is to just let you guys know, I am going to make every effort to make sure that the content schedule on the channel proper stays consistent, actually gets more consistent than it has over the last few weeks, because I feel like I've spent this entire year playing catch-up or prepping for or from some week-long or several week-long trip or another, because so many things have happened, like friends got married, people died, we had to go and help my mom out, and then we had to go and prep all of the stuff at the family land earlier in the year after it got purchased, and we had to go put a house out there and do all the prep work. Just, my God, every single weekend, it seems, I had something to prep for. So I have had so much on my plate this entire year. I feel like the channel has just sort of coasted throughout that time. And I feel like I've done okay not letting it stagnate, to at least keep something going despite all of that. And yet, knowing that that's not just an excuse. It really has made for a huge time sink for me to have to prep for all this.
It's very difficult. It takes a long time, at least a week of non-stop effort.
Yeah, and that's the thing with this job.
7 days.
Is, there are no days off doing this. Every day that you take off, you're either missing out on content and therefore losing relevance for, or you have to pre-prep for in advance. Yeah. So, knowing that, I feel like I've done all right. Still, though,
there's more we want to do, and we do plan on, finally hitting our stride and doing what we had wanted and planned to do from the beginning.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, we are not at a place as a company, as a channel, as a stream venue, as a YouTube channel, or on VidMe. We are not at a point where we can
hire people.
Well, where we can hire people, or where we can afford to just coast at where we are. We're still small. We're not self-viable yet. We need to continue to expand, and we haven't.
Which is the reason why we are splitting things into different channels, so that we can hopefully get the algorithm to like us a little bit more than it currently does.
Exactly, and that's the thing.
On that note, Marcus has some mentions, he says, I know I'm not an expert on the whole YouTube thing, but I'm currently looking at your old and new videos, and it seems that your New Vegas videos are the most popular, with Stalker as the second.
They absolutely are.
He suggests maybe it might be a good idea to try and get the long play New Vegas Let's Play out.
That is in the works. That's one of the things that I have shifted up in priority significantly.
Okay, Chris the Pyro says, everyone is fine. Turns out that the sensor that says no, you can't turn the thing when the glass lid is down was broken. So turn that on instead of the grill, so the glass lid exploded.
Oh!
Glass everywhere, a good 10 to 12 feet from the cooker.
Damn.
A metal bar that was part of the lid landed at my feet, and I was at the end of that 10 to 12 feet line. Everything behind that was just covered in glass.
That had some pressure.
Ooh, I am glad everyone is fine and no one was right next to it, because...
Yeah, that could have done some damage if you were standing close to that.
I'm glad you're okay.
Yeah.
Hopefully these are hopefully things that you only have to learn once.
Yeah, oh yeah. So the main thing for my own sense of integrity in all this is that I made you guys a promise when we decided to remonetize the main channel and all that the ability to monetize content or not would never affect my creative integrity. I'm going to create what I create, and if I can collect on it, cool. If I can't, I just have to live with that. That is not something I am ever comfortable deciding to just put down, you know? I am going to stick to that. This, in essentially saying we're not going to change our content, we're just changing where we put it, I feel is an acceptable compromise to that ideal. Because I'm not changing what I'm doing, it's just where you guys go to see it. And it means that doing it that way, I can still give you guys all of the stuff that you're here for. And I can also then approach this from a more mature and realistic perspective professionally.
Yeah.
And we can therefore continue to professionally expand and grow. And yes, even though people hate to say it out loud, yeah, make more money so I can actually, like, you know, pay my own dues, pay for my own food, pay for our own friggin' electricity and stuff, move out of my in-laws, her parents, get our own place eventually. You know, these are things that we want to do. People don't like to talk about that. The reality is what it is, though. So that's what we're working towards, so that we can creatively stay true to our integrity and still professionally expand and succeed. So that's the plan.
Okay. Chris says, the only reason I was not next to it was because I went to talk to my mom. About 30 seconds to a minute before it exploded, I was right next to it.
Ooh. Whew. Yeah, I have one shifting gears.
Okay, hang on. Ghost is back. He says, I'm back. Do you want company in Overwatch? Also, and yes, moving out is nice. Moving to Texas is better.
Making some plans, are you? I will want some company shortly. However, I'm going to do a few solo matches because we do still have more to talk about. So let's see here. Oh, hey. Oh, they added a normal game browser now. Cool. It's needed that. I'm still going to do quick play, though. I'm glad to see the other thing. I'm just not going to use it right now.
And Sheil is here and says hiya.
Cheers. Ain't seen you in a while. Welcome aboard once again. Yeah, speaking of the explosion almost having horrible things happen thing, you know, I think I'll keep it easy for my my return. And ooh, I forgot they added Doomfist. I gotta try him. I have not actually played this in a long time, so I'll just go Orsa.
Marcus says, how dare you try to make money off a platform that was not designed so you can make money off it?
How dare I? So anyway, yeah, accidental explosion story. Fun times. Whoa.
Not enough players.
Finding a new game. All right, fine. I used to get saddled with the chore of mowing the lawn of the home that I grew up in. We had about 1.5 acres. Most of that was just empty field in our side yard.
Do your thing.
And ordinarily that was fine because we had a riding lawnmower. Apparently that's a really southern thing. Not a lot of folks up north riding lawnmowers aren't really much of a thing. I've only heard that recently. Anyway, I didn't race them though. That is a more southern thing that even I get into. Woo! Check that out if you're interested. However, my mom changed the oil on the riding lawnmower one day and got distracted, I think with a phone call or something midway through, and she forgot to put oil in again after emptying it. So I managed to get it over to our side yard, and then I got like one pass down the side of it, and then it just exploded. Now, given if you don't know what a riding lawnmower is, because apparently I've heard they're not much of a thing in Europe either, it's essentially like, I don't know, a golf cart with like a seat and a giant engine right in the middle of your legs, and you just drive that, and the cutting, like, the things are underneath it and everything. So having an explosion right here, little alarming. And it smells like smoke is coming out the side. So I didn't even get out the side, because thankfully I was like in the midst of doing a lot of martial arts at that point in my life. So I pretty much leapt completely straight that way and like did a little twist thing in midair to get over the seat. I didn't land very gracefully. I hit the ground pretty hard. Thankfully I had the leg strength though to just propel myself off of it as soon as it happened. And oh god, how do I shield? There we go.
Mark says lawnmower racing, lawnmower jousting is where it's at.
I've seen that too.
And Chris Pyro says, I kind of wish I took a picture before I started cleaning up the glass. Only thought to take a picture after I started cleaning up.
I know that feel.
Sheila says, we have someone in our neighborhood that rides theirs up our street to the gas station.
Oh, I've seen that. Oh, that is small town Texas to a T.
Yeah, except for us, it's not just riding lawnmowers. It's literal tractors.
Yeah, it's literal tractors. A common thing in the town where my mom and my stepdad live is like old folks that have the little like mobility cart things. They'll just drive those all over town, down streets.
Chris Pyro says, the only time I see rideable lawnmowers is when the local council sends someone out to cut the grass in the parks.
Yeah, and that's probably like one of the large like industrial ones.
Large ones, yeah.
No, they're actually very common to just like have in a home down here. I only recently learned that that's not a common thing like everywhere. Ah! Oh my god, I am so rusty at Overwatch.
It's okay.
Might it have something to do with me not having played in like 3 months? Probably.
Yes, probably. Marcus says, and thermal lawnmowers are a thing in Europe. My dad has one.
Oh, cool.
Sheila says, sorry, I was late. I was watching a 7 Days to Die video.
Ah, good times. That's another one I gotta get into again. I reached like a point of sustainability in it, so I kind of got comfortable, and then I just kind of quit playing for a while.
Yep.
I definitely haven't done everything in it though, so I do want to return to it.
And there's plenty of stuff we haven't explored yet.
Oh hell yeah, yeah. I think the last time I really played it at length was that stream where we went exploring that creepy factory, and Miss T was here, and we all got the freaking pants scared off of us.
Yep. Nothing happened to us.
Oh, well, I mean, to us, yeah.
Like,
those creepy dogs did come charging in, though. That scared the
terrifying.
shit out of me. Oh God, Sombra, stop. Stop. S-T-A-H-P. I'll show you what it means to me. See you, Reaper. Oh, yeah. Ow, 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 ow. Screw you, Burston. I've only recently learned, too, that apparently people hate Bastion players in this game. Sorry! Thing is, though, I've also learned that if you don't like Bastion, because you feel like he's OP, why aren't you playing Genji? Because Genji can absolutely... Sorry. Genji is the answer to Bastion, because he can destroy him in less than a second with his projectile reflection ability. Mm-hmm. Like, he is the counter to Bastion. He's so easy to counter. And it's why, apparently, because I've started getting a little more into, especially when I was...
Chris Pyre says, if you want to get an idea of the glass firework I created, just search for glass in the Discord general.
Okay. You know, and I was looking at videos to watch during, like, downtime at the stand with my mom. I did look up some, like, pro Overwatch matches and watched how some of them do it. And it occurred to me, and then I, you know, had it reconfirmed through some of the comments and stuff that I was reading, that among, like, professional players for Overwatch, like, nobody picks Bastion. Because he is so easily countered, and he's really just a one-trick pony, that amongst the people who know how to take care of him, it's like, as soon as he enters the field, he just gets dropped. So he's only really good against, like, early to mid-experienced players, really experienced players, Bastion is pretty much totally ineffectual against.
Yep. Chris Paris says, oh yeah, I got wrecked by Genjis a few times with Bastion.
Yeah, same. Like, I thought Bastion was super duper powerful, and I'll give her the recommendation, until I ran into several Genjis, and I was just like, oh, okay, there is someone to put me in my place. Mm-hmm. And that's good, don't get me wrong, like, he should have a check.
Hey look, you leveled!
Yay, free stuff! I'll open that in a while.
Let's see. Shield says, about 7 days to die. My oldest has to spawn in a winter environment and a desert. I have never once spawned in the desert, but I have been spawning near a house that is 2 stories with wooden spikes. Marcus said, I still can't believe why people keep complaining about some characters in this game being OP, even though the devs have literally told them how you can counter them.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, they've told them
they've
how...
tried really hard to try and prevent the whole OP
there's
from being an issue.
There's a check and balance to each character, and they've also released like the numerical values of what every character's DPS is and what all of their abilities do. Like,
there's a new thing.
Yeah. Auto mod? What the?
I don't.
Oh, auto mod. That's a newer
Is this
feature.
new?
Yeah. So you as a moderator
Do
then
I
have
just,
to.
Do I just?
Yeah. Just allow.
Okay. I'm like, what
I
the
don't
hell
know.
is
I don't
this?
know what in that message got flagged.
Bitch.
Oh, okay.
Itch with a B. That's probably language.
I see. Yeah. So yeah, that's just for you as a moderator to look at, and
because I'm like, I have never seen that before.
yeah, they rolled out automod I think like a month or so ago. So.
And we haven't.
Yeah, I haven't fine-tuned the settings for it.
And we also haven't.
I was trip prepping.
We haven't done much live streaming in
Yeah.
a month because we've been.
Thankfully, we still have our affiliate status, even though we missed.
We do. Thank
yes,
goodness.
How do you think I was able to change my payout settings earlier?
Oh yeah. Good point.
Because that was actually a little concern that we had. We'll shed light on this side of the camera for you guys. We noticed, checking my PayPal account, that it was still 0. I was just like, we have Patreon supporters and subscriptions coming from Twitch. Where the hell is my damn money?
And we haven't had, no money has gone in
for
months.
I checked the activity.
We checked it. So we were very concerned.
Little worried. And then apparently I dug a little farther and realized that, auto monthly payouts, that little thingy wasn't checked, so it was just all escrowing. I had the total aggregate just sitting there, and I could then have it pay out to me. So I got all my money, don't worry.
We fixed it. We fixed it. Let's see.
I was sitting there wondering, where the hell is it going?
Yeah. Let's see. Marcus says Ghost has had auto mod for ages now, and Ghost says you can turn off auto mod too. It is annoying. I thought it's better, but takes a lot of work to set up.
Yeah.
Noah is here and says howdy folks. How are y'all doing?
How goes,
Jill
matey?
says hi to everybody. Oh, Ghost is subscribed with Twitch Prime. He has subscribed for 4 months in a row.
Oh, our longest standing supporter. Oh God, Roadhog! Ow.
The noise happened at the beginning of, and it only just
I know.
popped up for me.
That audio latency.
It only just now said that he subscribed, that it was him.
Oh,
Only
wow,
just now, literally
Weird.
2 seconds ago, basically.
So, as a mod,
we've been talking for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
He just
Jeez.
said.
Thanks, Twitch. Thanks for keeping the chat alerts relevant.
Ooh, boy. Okay.
Die, McCree, die.
Ghost says, oh god, I had Twitch in app and then launched in browser. Oh my god, Doublekin is deafening.
I get that a lot. Oh god. See, about that whole...
About the Genji thing.
Yeah, the Genji counter to Bastion. Yep. It's just like chess. It's the rook to red queen counter maneuver.
Red queen.
It's very, very common. It's professional chess terminology. You wouldn't understand. Shut up.
Okay then. Ghost says it's probably because I finally launched the stream on the browser.
Okay.
So we got the sound, but the alert didn't happen until he went on browser instead of in the app.
That makes sense.
That's stupid, but it makes sense.
Yeah, it's a little derpy on their end. It makes sense though.
Yeah.
Die, Genji! Lucio.
Um,
I see his
Chris
projectiles.
says, I think one of my speakers has died, but since they're both behind me in TV monitor, I can't actually get to them to check. Grumpy mumbles.
Pardon me. Also, because each of us are fighting allergies,
We apologize.
tonight's stream may get a little coffee and a little shorter than normal, just because my throat's a little raw to start with.
Scarlett says, hey guys, welcome back.
Hey, how goes, matey?
No, it says, goes pretty well. Working on some new music right now, figuring out the cost effectiveness of pressing my own cassette tapes.
Nice. Yeah, you're really going old school. Yeah, I gotta show you. He released
The music. Well, I haven't gotten to hear any
no,
of the stuff that he's done.
an updated version yesterday.
Well, I haven't gotten to hear even the non-updated version. So you had best
Oh, I will.
show it to me. Okay, let's see. Christopher says, I said me instead of my. I might be turning into a pirate. Also, my wonderful beloved.
Yeah.
Next time you die or the match is over, will you do me a humongous huge favor?
Baby, ow, run away.
Would you hand me my drink and open it?
Yeah.
Or rather, open it and hand it to me.
Okay.
Ghost's coughing has been the norm at my place for the entire week. Finally getting better today. Yeah, there's something about the switch.
Yeah, it's,
between...
that change from not just temperature, because it's really changed a lot down here in the last couple of weeks. Also the air pressure due to the elevation, going from one to another and then like changing several times can put your system through hell. And I think all three of us are feeling it.
It goes to still have a friend with Gatorade. Yeah, but this was Coke Zero that I couldn't reach.
Yeah, what was your Gatorade score? Is it like 9-1?
8-1.
8-1, okay.
It was 8-1. Shut up.
We were keeping score while Ghost was with us.
Some of those you had problems with, so you can't blame me.
I still got them open though.
Shut up. You have strong hands.
Fair.
I have weak little pathetic hands that have weird double jointed thumbs that don't always do well with things like that, okay? Ghost is laughing at me, of course. And Christopher's like, Gatorade score? How many I could open and how many I had to have someone else open for me? I opened one.
Yeah, we got a pack of Gatorades that were apparently like really tightly sealed. So
And
that's what that's all
my
about.
efforts to do it actually hurt my wrist. So towards the end, I couldn't open them because just doing the turning motion hurt.
Yeah.
Oh, hi.
Reapy, go away.
No. We don't want to die.
No hugs today.
We don't want to die. No, it says old school all the way. That's are super cheap to home produce and the cheapest medium to customize as well. Also, I just got named director of an upcoming half-hour radio play the school station's putting on.
Dude,
I'm hyped.
nice.
That is so cool. Congrats.
You're like really starting to
radio, man.
like take some names and accomplish some things in the music and casting
Guess
sphere,
what?
man.
It's good on resumes.
Yeah, it is.
I can't tell you how good me being a published author from high school looked on my resume.
Yeah, having that kind of stuff ascribed to your name can open doors. That's a good thing.
Chris says, I have become the universal bottle opener in my house. It gets annoying at times. Oh, I'm sure it does. Sheila says, don't feel bad about getting a bottle open. Most of the time I have to have someone open a bottle because my hands don't like to work right. See, I'm not alone. Not alone, okay? And Ghost says, 3-4's updated. Haven't launched this game in ages.
Yeah, I hadn't either. I had to let it sit and update for like 20 minutes when I thought to start playing this tonight.
Yep. Noah says, thank you. And for sure, if being a history teacher doesn't work out, I guess I can instruct radio or broadcast.
Or all of the above.
Or, all of the above, I think.
Multitasking, man. Because that's the thing that a lot of folks kind of forget about teaching professionally. You have an off season in which, depending on the district you work for, you may or may not get paid.
Yeah.
Like my favorite art teacher in high school, Mr. Bates, Jay Bates, I love you. Show that man some love and appreciation because he's an amazing human being, and I wish him all of the greatest things in the world. In his off season, He works as, like, a warehouse laborer. And then just returns during the actual school year to teach art, and I think he's now, like, coaching, like, girls volleyball or something.
I think it was volleyball.
I think that's what he was doing.
that sounds right. That sounds right to me.
So having that off-season gig can definitely make for a good plan to have in advance if you are intending to pursue teaching.
Ghost is giving the nice big shout out for your favorite teacher. Paris is now confirmed for historical podcast where all events are told through heavy metal. Ooh.
Yeah. There were very few of my teachers in grade school that like left an impression on me, and
Chris the Pirate says, "Wait, teachers in the U.S. don't get paid over the summer? That depends entirely on where they're working."
It depends on the district. Most public schools do not. Private schools, some do, especially if they're teaching like summer courses and stuff. Yeah, for the most part though, public school teachers do not get paid over the summer.
Yeah. At least down here in Texas.
Yeah, at least here in Texas. I don't know if it's different in other states.
It
here in
probably
Texas, though,
is.
I mean, maybe.
So much stuff is different between the states that it's probably also dependent on states.
And they may get.
Yourself?
I'm gonna commend that freaking Hanzo. He was doing a damn good job.
Chris the Pirate says, "That's ridiculous."
It is.
We do not treat our teachers the way they should be.
No, we do not. Our teachers do not get paid well. They don't get great benefits. They don't get great recognition. We like the U.S. really needs to change up its game on how we treat our teachers.
No, it is all over.
Is it all over?
It's not
Damn,
just
that
Texas.
sucks. All right, well, while I'm finding the game,
so it says, "I just got back from flying my model planes.
Hey,
so much
cool.
fun. Awesome.
Good times. It looks like it's all paint and a voice line. Okay, cool. Yes, copy. Game found. Good timing.
But yeah, like, I prefer, like, for example, the Norwegian way of treating teachers.
Go.
But
You know what? This is kind of a close-in match. I think I'll try out Doomfist.
Doomfist is scary.
Yeah, if there's.
I watched the Matt Pat.
That wasn't Matt Pat.
No, that was the science.
It's me, Austin. I love that guy.
Also, that sounded like it hurt your throat.
A little. It's fine though.
He is awesome. The science of, I think, is what it's called.
Yeah, it's
on the Game Theorists.
The Science of
Whatever.
X.
Yeah.
It's a series on the Game Theory channel. He used to create content for Shoddycast. That dude is awesome. I love his stuff. Because it's extremely well researched, and yet also extremely comedically delivered. And he doesn't linger over long on the crunchy science numbers part. He gets across just enough of it to make his case and to support it. If he can tell that something is just going to get super dry and dull,
I really
though.
like the Super Mario Galaxy one.
Yeah, one of his things is he owns the fact that people say that MatPat likes to poke holes at or support, whereas Austin lives to destroy. Because he will definitely make the case that X thing in Y game just, quote, makes no damn sense.
Yep.
And I love it.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Alright, I don't even know what the hell Doomfist does. Like, I mean,
okay,
clearly,
this says, also showed my brother your announcement video when he got home and he loved it. But his favorite is Bobman's chair video and Bobman saying the earth is flat. Let's see, Chris the Pirate says, I know that in Scotland we have trouble finding math teachers since if you have a degree in math, you can get a much better job than teaching math. My old high school, a good 75% of its math staff are almost old enough to retire. But not getting paid over the summer is ridiculous.
Yeah, that makes an unfortunate kind of sense.
Yeah.
Alright, I gotta figure out what the hell Doomfist does. I know he's got his little fist shotgun. Where the hell the ammo from that is contained, I have no idea. Because that is a very skin-tight glove. Like, where the hell is the ammo for this coming from? Unless it's just energy.
It might just be energy.
I think it's actually just energy. Okay, alright, that makes more sense. So, let's see here. Right-click is the punch! E is...
That's
like a leaping punch. Alright, oh god, what direction are they? Okay, that way. God, I'm so rusty! And then
It's
shift
okay.
is... Oh,
It's
okay. So
directional.
shift is his, like... Is that also an uppercut? Hang on, let me see. That's an uppercut.
Yeah.
Okay. I see. So you can, like, combo with Doomfist then. This is the first time I've ever played
Chris
it.
the Pirate says, then again, isn't the whole U.S. wage system a mess? Does the U.S. have
Um,
minimum wage? Oh, we have
We
minimum wage.
have minimum wage. It's actually a large debate here right now as to whether or not we should raise it, and I'm not going to get into that. It's just
No.
it is a debate in the
It is
country
a
right
thing.
now.
We do have minimum wage.
We have minimum wage, however, it doesn't apply to all types of jobs, specifically to waiters and waitresses. Waitstaff, if
They fall under a really weird category because of the tipping.
Yeah, if a restaurant elects to pay them, or rather to allow them to collect tips, then they don't actually have to pay them minimum wage. They essentially assume that tips will account for the difference, and so they can pay them like $3 an hour.
And Noah says, I do believe you can charge the right click.
Charge right click. Oh! Cool, thank you for
that's that super one.
Yeah, that's the one that Austin got all like crazy concerned about.
Because you would literally kill yourself
Right, you'd
doing it.
like liquefy your skeleton advancing that fast. So anyway, yeah, like waitstaff, that's why tipping is so weird for people from out of country that come here, because it is very much expected here, not just as a courtesy, it's expected as
That's how they make
literally
enough money.
Yeah, that's how waitstaff make their money at all. It's not an additional thing. They make dirt in their actual pay. Tipping is where they make the majority of their money. I don't actually think that's a good system. That is the way it is, though.
Yeah, that is how it is. It's not. I don't necessarily agree with it, but that is just.
That's how the system works, and that's why like so many of my friends in college, they got through it and either like worked it to get some amount of financial flexibility, or they paid their way entirely through college, waiting tables. And so I always go out of my way to tip very well.
Yeah.
Because I know the kind of shit they have to put up with.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Mark says, meanwhile, waitstaff is one of the best paid work around here.
Yeah, it's weird how much that sort of stuff changes depending on what country you're in, you know?
Yeah, Shield says, taking a break from Sims 3 now that the tournament is over. I finished it with a minute to spare. Only took me 14 attempts, but I got it done.
Yeah.
Congrats. Chris Pyro says, yeah, tipping is optional over like most, if not all of Europe.
Yeah, and I've heard that a lot of places are like that. And like, and there's some countries where, I forget which one, there was an Asian country, I think it was like Vietnam or Cambodia, where tipping was like insulting. Because it's implying, oh, you don't look like you're doing well, let me help you. And it's like a patronizing thing there. It's the total opposite here. So, yeah, just a travel advisory for any of our international viewers that come here and check things out. Tipping here, while legally optional, ethically, not really. If you can't afford to tip your waitstaff and you go out to eat, you can't really afford to go out to eat.
Yeah.
Like, tip your waitstaff in the States, because they need it.
Yeah. Ghost says, yay, finally in!
Alrighty.
So I take it finished updating.
Oh, there he is. Ghost Pro started playing Overwatch.
Sorry about the sound.
Yeah. Alright, let's see. I did not really excel as Doomfist. Him, I think I'm going to need to play off camera.
I think you have to practice.
Yeah.
I think
because
so much of his stuff is if you hit.
Yeah, and he almost controls like a fighting game character. I mean, Punch, who would have guessed? In that a lot of his stuff seems like it's really rooted in sequencing of things in combos. That I think is going to take more concentrated practice than something I can do on a commentating stream will allow.
Yeah. Shield says, hopefully they don't revamp it too much before the next tournament, because I have learned a few new things to do.
Well,
I hope
times.
not. Says, in Australia, we hardly tip at all. There might be a general tip jar on the counter in some small eateries, but in general, we don't.
Gotcha.
Chris Pyre says, the U.S. will continue to confuse me with its crazy strangeness.
Oh yeah, we're weird.
We're weird. Honestly, everywhere is weird to people who haven't lived there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's all whatever you're used to. And there's going to be weird stuff from each of them.
Yeah, I think the weird thing for the U.S. is just the like selective inconsistencies.
Yeah, the selective inconsistencies is the weirdest part, I think.
And the thing is, like, what's really strange too is that like there are some restaurants that pay not with tips. They actually do pay like an hourly wage. Most of the ones that pay an hourly wage pay extremely well. That's for like high-end restaurants though.
Mm-hmm. Those are the super schmabsy.
Yeah, because there's some of those. Like, there was a friend of mine that actually, he went from working at an Applebee's to, like, this really nice steakhouse where, like, oil executives would go. And he went from making, like, less than 20 grand a year to, like, 90 grand from one year to another just because he changed restaurants after he was able to impress the staff at this steakhouse. So it's so strange, the like disparity even amongst the same profession, just depending upon the payout method that the managers choose or that the owners choose.
Yep. Marcus's fun fact: giving thumbs up in Russia is actually the same as flipping the bird in the West.
Ah, I did not know that. That makes a lot more sense considering how many photos I have seen of tracksuit-clad, shaven-headed dudes with vodka bottles in their hands giving the thumbs up to a camera. That makes a lot more sense now.
Suddenly, we understand.
Slav intensifies. I'm gonna go Widow for this.
Why is she blue?
I don't know.
Does anyone know why she's blue?
There's probably an answer, because there's apparently extensive lore for this game. It's just all in promotional videos and not in the game. I do kind of wish there was a way, and maybe there is, I just don't know about it. Like,
also, her helmet thing looks heavy.
It does. Is there a way to actually access those, like, meet the character video things in-game? And also, correct me if I'm... Isn't BlizzCon going on, like, right now? Like, this weekend?
I have no idea.
I think so. Because they just did... I think it was, like... Honor and Steel or something like that. It was another one of the new... promo videos, I think, like, just released. Let's see here. I forget. Pardon me. Oh, yeah, there we go. So T is to spray paint. What?
Hamsters, though!
What? Hamsters can actually store their own body weight in food in their cheeks. They always need access to water so they can drink. A water bottle attached to their cage is a great way to... Why is this guy talking about hamsters? Why is that a thing that's happening?
This exact response. The
Thanks for that.
who?
It's Hamster Dude, isn't it? Hamster Dude is just... He's trolling us. I can feel it. Ow.
Let's see. Chris Paris says, I can't think of any other country where laws literally change between one area to another. Biting your thumb in Italy is the same as flipping the bird as well. Also, why is it called flipping the bird? Everyone I know could just call it the middle finger.
You know, I don't actually know where that little moniker came from.
It's a colloquialism.
Well, yeah, it's just,
but
I don't know where it came from.
I don't know what it's for, like, where it came from. And mostly because the reason why laws change from one area to another here is because it's meant to be more like a group of small countries overseen by a larger...
Yeah, when it was
the
originally...
states are not meant to be... Like, they're meant to be their own thing.
Yeah, when it was originally founded, the U.S. was not necessarily intended as a singular country. It was using the word state in the classical sense, as in a sovereign entity, that was just overseen with a larger governing entity that was originally intended to have much less influence over state affairs than it does now.
Yeah.
Again, that's not a commentary one way or another. It's just the fact is
that's what it was meant to be.
Yeah, there's much more centralized influence governmentally now than was originally intended.
Yeah, and that is something that most people don't necessarily realize.
Yeah, exactly. Like even Americans don't realize.
We're meant to be like their own small countries that just also.
And it's why things like healthcare laws, like weapons laws, hell, even traffic laws, are sometimes very different from one state to another. It's because they are still semi-legally considered, like, limitedly self-sovereign entities.
Yep.
They just have to answer on certain matters to the higher government.
Yeah.
Which, again, I acknowledge, a little strange.
A little strange, but I understand why.
Yeah, so do I. Especially because the sheer area and population of the states, I don't think would work with one singular governmental structure. There's just too damn many of us. We need to have some middle management to oversee that many numbers of people.
Yep. Let's see. Shield Sunny says, my mom's friend says that they like to get tips in cash, going back to the wait staff, instead of on the debit or credit cards, because with tips on the cards, it takes anywhere from the next paycheck to a month later to get.
Yep. That is absolutely true.
The problem is we don't carry cash.
Yeah, a lot of people don't anymore.
Let's see. So it says she's blue, tappity, Christopher says, and Widowmaker is blue due to something to do with low blood oxygen or something.
Yeah, okay. I'll just take your word for it.
If she's that blue because of that, she should be dead.
She should not have proper circulation then.
She should be dead. She should be literally dead. You don't turn blue like that due to that without being dead.
Maybe it's Kojima logic, you know.
Let's see.
Vocal cord parasites.
Marcus says the two-finger peace sign is actually the same as flipping the bird in France.
I've heard that one, yeah.
Chris the Pirate says in the UK, if you do the peace sign with the back of your hand facing someone, it's also like flipping a bird.
Yeah, I've heard about that in the UK, because that's the, like, the archery fingers, because these are the two fingers that you would use to knock an arrow.
Yeah.
And that was actually meant, I think that started during some of the rebellions against the, God, I'm spacing on names. Like the old centralized English royalty, when they were trying to curb what they regarded as like rebellions amongst some of like the Celts and the Saxon peoples. Or maybe, does it go as far into history as the original Celts resisting the Holy Roman Empire when they were moving north?
I have no idea, but it has something to do with archery and
man, I
think
know
it has to do with cutting off the fingers.
Yeah, and I used to know this.
Yeah. Hang on. Let's see. Spirit says, when Australia was first divided into states, they each had a different railroad gauge to prevent each other from transporting goods and arms interstate in the event of a civil war.
Interesting.
Wow, that's interesting. Shield says about the cash tips, they call it their gas money.
Yeah, makes sense.
Chris the Pirate says, oh yeah, Widowmaker should be dead. I think that was kind of the point.
So she's sort of like zombie-ish?
Yeah. Chris the Pirate says, I have no idea. Don't ask me. All I know is that it's insulting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that much.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
I used to know the actual contextual history for it, and I've since forgotten. I hate reaching that point. And that's something that I've had to contend with as I get older, because I'm approaching 30, that it's weird when you start getting old enough to realize that things you knew very well in your late teens or mid-20s, you haven't used in long enough that you have actually forgotten. That's weird!
Yeah.
I don't like it!
Buddy says, are we talking about the middle finger and plucking the U? Like U as in Y-E-W. Like wood. I don't know.
I don't know. I think it was the cutting off fingers thing that she was mentioning. I think that was like an archaic punishment for sedition. Yeah, was literally severing the fingers that one would use to knock an arrow.
To knock an arrow, so you couldn't use the bows again. Like you couldn't fight.
Yeah.
And that's why it was an insult, because it was essentially
I forget who
showing what you
did
lost.
That. Yeah. Something is telling me that was something that the Romans did when they first showed up in what's now the Isles. I cannot swear to that, though.
Yeah. Marcus says, is anyone reading the in-game chat? I was not.
It's so weird.
But is there more hamsterisms?
Oh, you're just talking about weird animal facts. Just in general.
Just in general. Okay, you know what? Sure. Ghost says, you are a group leader. I will just follow along.
Okay, cool.
We'll
do some quick play.
But he says, I believe that happened in the War of the Roses, but can't say.
Okay. Yeah, that's a bit later than I thought.
Yeah, I don't know. All I know is that's what it is. And isn't that where the term the two-fingered salute came from?
Yes. That much I do know.
Yeah. So if you ever read that or hear that, that's what it's referencing.
Yeah.
I read that all the time in books and had no freaking clue. I'm like, what is this? I don't understand this. And then I realized, well, they're saying it in a way that's kind of like the middle finger, so I'm just going to assume it's that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Basically. It's similar.
Yep.
Marcus says, I have a feeling the animal fact guy is a YouTuber.
Probably.
Let's see. Scarlett says, repost because I think you missed it. I believe the two-finger taunt was started in the 100 Years' War. The French threatened to cut off those fingers to punish the English longbowmen. The taunt is saying, we'll come and get them.
Gotcha. Okay. All right.
Yeah, Bunny says Brits use their middle finger to pluck the U, which is pretty much knocking an arrow.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yep.
There you go. So it doesn't go quite as far as to the Romans.
I can understand why you thought it might, though, because that seems like the sort of thing they would do.
Oh, it absolutely is.
That's definitely the sort of thing they do.
Oh, and soon, within like 6 weeks-ish, I will know the specifics of my genetic makeup. Because out of curiosity, my mom ordered me one of those, I think it's the 23andMe kit. Where essentially you spit in a tube and then you send it off to the lab and they analyze your, like, ethnic makeup and all that. So I know a fair amount of mine, because she's already done it. However, due to the fact that I'm not on great terms with my dad's side of the family, and I don't know that any of them have actually done one of these. We just have essentially family hearsay as to what our lineage actually is. I'm kind of curious to see what comes from it, because I know our name is English. However, I was told throughout like my entire life that the most of our actual family history was German, and that a lot of our like German ancestors had only relatively recently, I know, that they had moved to England and then in turn moved to the States. So that's where the English name came from. However, like that was a recent affectation of our family line. I don't know if that's true. We're gonna find out.
Let's see. So it says, I watched Jacksepticeye's videos about it. So interesting. Miss T says the two-fingered thing is creepy anyhow. And Chris the pirate says, not quite as far as the Romans. Only a few thousand years off.
Yeah, just a couple.
Shield says, my youngest came home from school with information about tabletop gaming as a favorite among people on the autism spectrum, along with having paper to fill out for a character for their class.
Cool.
That's awesome.
That's super cool.
Tabletop gaming is awesome.
Hell yeah. And that's one of the things that we are going to end up doing a lot more of in the very near future. So, spoilers. We're going to launch a channel for that. Don't tell anyone.
We actually have stuff in the mail.
We do.
To go on
we
our
do.
channel. I'm super excited about that.
Yeah. Oh, speaking
Humble
of, if
bundle.
you guys are into Iron Kingdoms or War Machine or Hordes, I think that's their all of it is Privateer Press stuff. Go check out Humble Bundle right now, because they have a book bundle. Hundreds of dollars worth of Privateer Press material. For I think the max payment thing right now is $15, and you get dozens of books. Some of them are for their proprietary game system. Some of them are the novels that are set in that universe. Game system,
you get the main book for that.
Yeah, so you get the core. You also get the Savage version of it. There is a crazy amount available for super cheap right now.
Yeah.
So if you have any interest in it whatsoever, go pick it up. Now is the time.
Yep. The world is awesome. I'm just going to put that out there.
If you want a short rundown for what Iron Kingdoms is about, it's fantasy World War I. That's what you need to know.
Complete with magic
and
awesomeness.
Yeah, it's steampunk
also,
fantasy
Khador.
World War I. Yes, Khador.
Forever.
Fantasy Russia strong.
And they are the best, actually.
They're so damn cool.
They're so freaking awesome. As far as I'm concerned, they are my fave.
The main factions are like them and Signar is like fantasy steampunk England, essentially. I'm Khador all the way.
Same.
Grey Lords, the Grey Lords' covenant shall ride to glory.
Okay, let's see. Sarah says, speaking of things to come, if you want to try out Portal 2 co-op at some time, let me know.
Yeah.
And Celtic Knight is here and says evening.
Hey, how goes, matey? Ain't seen you in a while.
We haven't seen anyone in a while, so
that's true. Yeah,
really
I'm just kind of going off of my surface level memory right now because I'm trying to concentrate on the game too.
Yeah. Shield says, so if they need help with making their character, I can ask in Discord for help.
Yeah. Well, it depends on what system they're playing, because I may or may not know the system. If it is Dungeons and Dragons 3.0, 3.5, or Pathfinder, then yes, I can very much help them. If it's not one of
If it's
those,
not
then
one of those, just tell us which one it is, and we can see if we can figure it out. But we might not know enough about the system.
As Ghost can attest, if it's Pathfinder, oh yeah, I can help you out all day long.
Oh yeah. Kelsmate says, just got home from work and starting week, Home Depot winter hours kicked in. So instead of getting out at 10 p.m., I'll be getting out at 9 p.m.
That's cool.
And Ghost says, yep.
I think we have made a fan of Ghost.
Oh yes. So much fun.
Yeah, and Ghost, helping you work on your Magus made me want to make one. So I'm working on.
You, Magus is good.
It
Magus
is.
is fun. You just have to build them right.
Oh yeah. So I'm in the
With
process
right build,
of.
They can do a lot of cool stuff.
I'm making a Hex Crafter Magus right now because it looks like so much fun.
And Ghost says, sorry about not chatting. Hard to type while playing.
Oh, it's all good.
No worries. Let's see. Shield says, I think it might be Pathfinder, but I would have to look in the backpack to be sure. If it's Pathfinder, we are.
Oh yeah.
We are where you get.
I can
Yes,
hook you up, fam.
You can ask him. Any help he needs whatsoever.
Oh yeah.
This man, right here, him.
No, and I've actually heard that same thing about tabletop, especially the D&D style, which is what Pathfinder is. Tabletop games actually appealing to autistic, not just kids, just people in general, because it's a good way to like abstractualize, if that's a word.
That's not a word, but I'll take it.
Yeah, y'all know what I mean. Things that give them a good outlet, because they're able to think about it as analytically as a lot of autistic minds are generally prone to do, and that doesn't get in the way of things. It in fact, like it helps them. Yeah, it is a strength, not a hindrance, and so it's very appealing for quite a few.
Yep. Let's see, Celtic. No, wait, hang on. My eyes just skipped over things. Chris Tyler says, I want to try a Vampire Masquerade World of Darkness tabletop, but I know no one else to do one with. I also have no idea how to play it either. The thing is, that lore, you can play in that world with different rule sets. You don't necessarily have to use Vampire the Masquerade, the rules.
Yeah, I would recommend against, unfortunately, the Monty Cook's World of Darkness D20 version.
Yeah, it's not very good at all.
It's not good.
No.
I'm sorry to say. Once upon a time, I looked up to Monty Cook. Honestly, I don't really anymore. His World of Darkness is...
No. But, I don't remember, is Vampire the Masquerade the one we looked at, or was that the one right before the one we looked at?
I want to say that is the one we played.
Because we built stuff for it. I don't think we ever actively played it, but
we did like one limited session. That
of
one
it.
was of a combination of Vigil and Werewolf, though.
That's right.
Where you were playing a hunter and I was playing a werewolf. Oh, you're looking at our shelf.
I don't think it's Masquerade.
Is it not?
I think Masquerade was the one right before.
Okay.
This one, and the rules do change a bit from.
They do.
From the.
And it's
so I don't know.
the rules to that system are quite different from a D20 system like Dungeons and Dragons or Pathfinder.
Yeah, so they are very different. I'd go online, look around, see if there are any forums that you can ask around about that. I don't know how good it is at translating, like, into doing it online.
That I don't know.
I don't know, because I just don't know enough. Also, there's Old World of Darkness, there's New World of Darkness, there's Vampire the Masquerade, which it also has a werewolf thing. There's a lot of different ones, and they are not the same rule set, so you'll have to be careful about asking specifically for the one you're interested in, because they are different worlds.
Yeah.
The idea of what the world is the same, like, but the lore of it is different for each of those. So if you're specifically wanting Vampire the Masquerade lore, you need to specify, if you go online and ask people about it, you need to specify that that's the one you want.
Yeah.
Because if it's just World of Darkness Vampire, it could be any of like 3 or 4, maybe even 5 at this point, systems. Let's see. Shield says, now I wish I had the extra money to order the Humble Bundle set of Pathfinder they had a while back now.
Yeah, that was a great pack.
That was a great pack.
Yeah, I actually got some of that just so I would have the PDF versions of some of the cores.
The thing with Pathfinder is there is an online...
the PFSRD.
Yes. D20 PFSRD.
Yeah, D20 PFSRD is an amazing online resource.
It has all the rules on it that you need to be able to play it.
Because it takes advantage of what's referred to as the...
Open Gaming License.
The Open Gaming License. That means you can reprint and even sell, or make available for free, as PFSRD does, the mechanical contents of the D20 game system. Nothing lore specific, so like you could not redisseminate or create a product that uses lore from, say, specifically Forgotten Realms story elements.
Of course, you also can't reprint a class that's already in existence.
Right.
You can, however, make additional what's called archetypes for that class that changes some of the mechanics. You can do that.
Yep.
You just can't reprint a class that's already been done. Let's see. Marcus wants to know how long we're planning on streaming.
An hour-ish tops, more. Not immensely more, because my throat is already starting to get sore.
Yeah.
You can probably tell from the coughing I'm doing.
Yeah, Chris the Pirate says, I did not realize how in-depth World of Darkness was. Whichever vampire lore goes with the Bloodlines game is the one I like. Bloodlines
I don't know
I
which one that
think
is.
That's Masquerade.
I don't know
I think
for
that
sure.
might be Masquerade.
No, the lore is super deep. I wish I could pan the camera over and show you guys our shelf.
I'm now very curious about whether or not we actually have.
Because,
Pardon me for a moment.
the tomes that we have for this, and we don't even have a complete collection. Each one of them is a large thing, like this tall, and they are thick.
We are not Masquerade, we're Requiem.
Oh, that's right, we are doing Requiem.
Yeah, we are doing Requiem.
Okay, so Masquerade was the previous edition.
Yeah. Yeah, we do not have Masquerade. We have to look up what Bloodlines is using, because it will be different lore.
That I do not know.
I will look that up. That. Oh.
I heard something crunch when you sat down. What was that?
I heard.
What did you do?
It was my tailbone and my ankle at the same time.
Oh, that's comfy. You probably shouldn't do that.
No, I shouldn't. That hurt.
Oh god, I need to get out there.
Chris Pirate says, I know a lot of the lore about the vampire clans, just not much else aside of them. I think the lore between Masquerade and Requiem is similar, maybe. I think that one is similar, but it's not exactly the same. It's like an alternate history.
Yeah, it's not the same. It's similar, though.
Oh, that hurt. Oh,
I think, honestly, of the side systems, you okay over there?
No, my ankle really hurts now.
Sorry.
Shield says, someone needs some hot tea with lemon and honey. That would probably help my throat, actually.
I think of their subsystems, I think the werewolf system is my favorite. Werewolf the Forsaken. Although Vigil is also cool, because Vigil is...
Yeah, it's Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines.
Okay, gotcha.
So it is Vampire Masquerade that you're looking for.
Gotcha. Because, like, World of Darkness in general, like just the normal setting, is assuming that the player characters are normal people that get caught up in supernatural scary stuff. Vigil assumes that, almost like Supernatural the show, you're a hunter, or at least someone who is aware of these creepy supernatural things that go on in the world. Jeez. And so you're more of an active resistance against those sorts of things and creatures' predation upon ordinary humanity. So Vigil is fun. I like Vigil. Ow, no. Get away. Get stunned.
Yeah, so Requiem, Vampire Requiem is different mechanically. There are only about 3 or so major differences, mechanically speaking, but the lore stuff is a bit different. Yeah. The lore is different, and yeah, so the lore behind what vampires are and their clans and everything is a bit different from Masquerade's Requiem. So, Sheila's BRB. Though apparently there's a translation guide for playing Masquerade with Requiem, or vice versa. So you can look up stuff like that online if you, if you're interested in that sort of thing. But yeah, that's the thing about the World of Darkness stuff is they have like,
Ah, damn it.
they sort of have like series. Like, so they have, like, the Vampire the Masquerade, then they have their werewolf one set in that same world, and then so
And the
on.
changeling one from that.
Yeah, that was Changeling the Dreaming, which I liked better than the one that we actually got for the Vampire and Werewolf one. And the Vigil. Hunter and Vigil.
Because I think Vigil is more of a new one, isn't it?
Yeah, Vigil was in the same set as Vampire Requiem.
Yeah.
And Werewolf the Forsaken.
Yeah, I don't think there was an old version of Vigil.
There wasn't. And the Changeling the Lost was the one that went with ours, but I didn't like the lore of it as much as I like Changeling the Dreaming.
Yeah.
Because the lore does shift from one to the other, which is really kind of, it's hard to wrap your mind around.
Yeah.
When the lore shifts from which edition.
And sometimes rather dramatically.
I think there are plenty online stuff. Like, you can run stuff with the new stuff, I think, like with the new systems. It just takes some finagling. And Chris Fire says, I immediately dislike Requiem. It drops the number of planets from 13 to 5 and removes all my favorites. That's because Requiem is focusing on small scale, whereas the Masquerade was large scale, global.
Yeah, and it was like faction warfare.
It was faction warfare. Requiem is meant more to focus on individuals.
Yeah, it's largely interpersonal and party-oriented conflict.
So because they wanted to focus on the micro instead of the macro, they removed some of the things that were more macro-oriented.
Ah, shit. It's not high noon.
Nope, not high noon.
Damn, he knew exactly where I was.
He did.
Yeah.
That didn't quite go very well, did it?
Digit.
Shut up. I can't talk anymore.
We're out of practice. We're a little rusty at this. Apparently I'm not so rusty as a shot, though. Jeez, I'm doing alright with McCree right now. Despite getting my ass handed to me just a second ago. Ah, shit. I keep forgetting there's a really short range on his little flashbang throw. I keep expecting it to just go until it hits something, and it's actually got a timer to it, so it'll explode in midair if you throw it far enough. And it doesn't go very far at that. So it's very much a close range stun. Right. So anyway, all of that is to say that yeah, Pathfinder is definitely the system that we each know the most about and are most comfortable with.
It's our preferred to play with.
Hi, Farrah.
Let's see. Scott says, I tried to make a Fallout 4 character based on McCree.
Hey, if you get the Fan the Hammer mod, that's a lot more doable. I don't really have any characters that are revolver users, so I didn't have much reason to pick that mod up, even though it looks really cool. Since I have so many, I have to really debate with myself, like, is this worth a place in my load order for me? Like, will I use this the next time I play the game? Whoa, whoa, hi. Oh god, enemy McCree. Ah! Dude, I like that little pixel art reward I got. I love the junked out hover jeep. That thing looks awesome. Drink it's for you.
Thank you. Chris says, Christopher says, I think I might just look into Vampire the Masquerade then. Most of the lore I know and like as part of Masquerade seems to be either removed or changed a lot in Requiem.
Yeah.
Yes, but you have also keep in mind Requiem is no longer the newest. There are, I think, 2, maybe. There's at least one set that's newer for sure. I think there might actually be two.
I don't know. We haven't played pretty much any World of Darkness in quite a while, so I'm rusty on all of it.
Yeah. So basically,
resources available for finding games are probably fairly limited for
older ones.
Masquerade.
But I'm sure there are people out there who just like it better.
I know, in fact, that there is a dedicated like purist community for the older edition that, like you, didn't really like some of the lore changes that were made for the new one, so they still concentrate on that. I don't know how active they still are.
Yeah, I don't know how active they are, and I don't know if maybe they're using modern rule sets.
Yeah, that I don't know.
With old lore, which you can do with some modification. I have no idea about that. So you really just look around for message boards and stuff, and ask some questions.
Honestly, Giant in the Playground is probably still a great place to look.
Yeah,
it's
that's
like
a
the
great
preeminent.
place to ask.
Yeah,
because,
it's
there
main.
Is a section in that forum for games that aren't D&D.
Yeah.
And you can ask there, and people are generally pretty helpful with helping people find what they're looking for.
Yeah. And honestly, Giant is the hub for tabletop gaming online. Like, above, I would say, anything else.
Yeah. Let's see. Noah says, question, reverb-drenched guitar solos, yes or no?
Yes or yes.
Let's see. Scott says, yeah, I just did a major clean of my load order. My game was crashing way too much. Sad, isn't it?
I know that feel. That's why I still have to remod my New Vegas. Because it was auto-crashing as soon as I launched it.
Skyrim.
Yeah, and our Skyrim.
Howdy face.
That guy's got a cool name. Dang. Dang!
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I thought he was going to follow it up with one last. That was nice.
Yep.
Well done. And yet the dude that got assists is the one that got more. Okay.
That's because probably everyone on our team. Because that was our team.
Yeah. Oh, pardon me. Okay, let's see here. Wait, there's a new thing in career profile? What's in, player icon. Oh, it's because I got a new one. Whoa, what is that? Is that the Egyptian flag?
That is.
Why is there an Egyptian flag?
Did they win?
Oh, did they win the, what are they calling it? The World Cup? I have no idea. I honestly don't know.
I do not know.
Like, I know Farah, I think, is an Egyptian character. Where'd it go? Oh, there it is.
I don't know. Do you have the best
what?
bot? Is that the best bot?
The back bop! That's why I'm using it. It's the hover back bop.
You're adorable.
And I got that little pixel art McCree a minute ago as an achievement. I don't know.
I think that was actually a sticker or a paint or whatever.
Oh, is that what that is? Okay, I was hoping it was an avatar. Oh well. Do I Genji or do I continue to McCree?
Up to you, my love.
I shall do neither. I'm a Hanzo. I was just super surprised at myself that the first time I ever played Hanzo, I got play of the game. And then the match after that, I absolutely sucked. So I very much had first-timer's luck for that.
Mm-hmm.
That's nice, Hanzo. That's nice. Hello. Oh man, I don't remember. How do I do this? Yeah, there we go. Sup.
Adorable. So what are we doing on this one? Preparing our defenses?
Yep. Defending this shrine room.
Gotcha.
Actually, can I get up there? Oh, there's a wall there. Ooh, here we go. Yeah, this is where I want to. Okay, here we go. So, let's do a little radar ping arrow. Doink. Oh, that didn't help us.
Oh, there's a person.
There's one.
More than one.
I hear an Orisa.
Yep.
That chain gun of hers is unmistakable.
Yep.
Alright, I need to get in a more advantageous position. There we go. Alright, you know what? Scattershot! Oh, hit somebody.
Chris Pirate says, I think
Eyes
I'm
on.
mostly just salty at Requiem for removing Clan Tremere, who were my favorite vampire clan, but I will continue to look into this.
And I definitely, I feel the frustration when it comes
We
to,
totally get ya.
to lore changes and things like that putting you off, because that's exactly why we checked out from Forgotten Realms from 3rd edition to 4th edition D&D, because the same thing sort of
Yeah.
happened.
We also didn't really like the changes to the mechanics.
Yeah, we didn't like the mechanical changes, we didn't like the lore changes that were done to Forgotten Realms, so we're just like...
Especially didn't like the lore changes.
Yeah. So we just sort of stepped away for quite a while from Forgotten Realms in general, and...
We still haven't quite forgiven them for it.
Yeah. Because the Sundering, it's made up for some of it. A fair amount of it, even.
But not all of
Not
it.
all of it.
No. Let's see. Noah says, so the first track I shared, Polygot, has 5 tracks. Drums, 2 times guitars, and 2 times vocals. Let's see if I can cut it to 3 tracks on my new one. Drums, guitars, vocals.
What are you going to cut out?
Scarlett says, so does this Requiem we're talking about here have any relation to the Skyrim overhaul of the same name? Probably not.
Probably not, although the overhaul may have had some inspiration from the World of Darkness vampire stuff.
But yeah, World of Darkness is real world with fantasy stuff.
Yeah.
Dark fantasy put in.
Yeah, World of Darkness in general is essentially dark modern fantasy horror, insofar as, like, supernatural things do exist, however, most of humanity is unaware of it, and,
It's Supernatural the game.
yeah, it very much is, like, Supernatural the show, the game,
Which
although
actually exists, and I really want it. I just want you to know that.
for clarification, it's not officially that, and I think World of Darkness predates Supernatural the show.
It does.
So,
It does.
So nobody get the wrong idea. I'm just as a quick little
As a quick-
super grossly over summarized version.
Yeah,
That's what it
it's-
is.
And it tends to try and be...
It's much more serious.
it tries to be very dark.
Yeah.
Hence, World of Darkness.
Yeah. It's a little edgy.
grimdark. It tries to do the grimdark, edgy thing.
It actually does it well, though. That's
it
the
does
thing. That's
usually
why I
do
like
it well.
it.
So it says, so legendary.
Oh, no. Oh, God, no. Hell no. Legendary wishes it was World of Darkness.
Yep. Let's see. Noah says, anything doubled up. I think 5 tracks is a good formula. It gives me lead and rhythm, guitars, drums, and 2 vocal tracks, which help thicken up the mix. So you're going to leave me with 1 of everything, bare minimum.
That's cool.
And Chris Fire says, World of Darkness predates Supernatural by at least a few decades. Yeah. It's... The first World of Darkness was like the 70s.
Was it? Does it go that far?
Or maybe...
I thought it was like
80s.
mid to late 80s.
It might be early 80s, I think. But, yeah, Masquerade is not the first World of Darkness.
No.
It goes
I knew
further
that.
back than that. Like, it's old. It's not...
I just didn't think it went super far.
I think it... No, I don't know for sure.
To the interwebs! Oh. Dang, we got stomped. Oh man, I like that aura suppose. Of course, I'm actually a sucker for cool Sleepy Hollow kind of stuff.
Let's see. Vampire Masquerade.
Pardon me.
It might have been late 90s, actually, or early 90s.
Yeah,
I thought it was older than that.
I did not
maybe
think it went that far.
No, it says White Wolf Publishing developed the following game set in the classic World of Darkness between 1991 and 2003, and that's when Vampire the Masquerade was a thing.
Okay.
Yeah, Masquerade is 90s for sure.
Yeah. Who is I gonna play as?
Oh my gosh.
Hmm.
In 1996, there's a short-lived TV series set in the World of Darkness called Kindred the Embrace.
There was.
Ooh.
I've never seen it. I have heard
and
it,
was
though.
canceled in the U.S. after only 8 episodes.
I have heard it was awful. I've never seen it, though. It's like, it falls into the same category, from what I've been told, as the recent Mortal Kombat TV show that was terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, and Hunter the Vigil was 2008.
Yeah.
So it's much.
Yeah, that's from the edition that we have.
Yeah.
Because Vigil I actually really like. Okie dokie. Because yeah, there was your character for that was like a game warden, and
Yeah.
then I was gonna end up playing a werewolf whose tribe was actually in the area that your character had jurisdiction in.
Chris the Paris says there's a Mortal Kombat TV show?
It was very short-lived, yes, and it was not good. It made the old Mortal Kombat Annihilation movie look right at home. And at least with Annihilation, it's good terrible. It's an awful, atrocious movie. It's fun, though. This TV show, however, mostly just awful.
Let's see. Scott says, I found a use for the Twitch mobile app. Putting in headphones when I walk away from my computer so I can still listen.
I think that's what Miss T does.
Yeah. Let's...
Whoa.
Yeah, it looks like it, I guess it maybe Masquerade is the first one.
Was it the first? I could swear there was like an action, just World of Darkness. Not necessarily a vampire, but a World of Darkness that predated everything else.
I don't think so.
Is there not?
No. Apparently there's several video games I didn't know about.
Oh yeah, there's several World of Darkness video games.
Hunter the Reckoning series.
I've heard of that.
Game. Mage the Ascension Refuge.
Wait, they made a Mage the Ascension game?
Which is awesome, because I love Mage the Ascension.
Yeah, Mage is awesome!
Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, Vampire Prelude, Vampire the Masquerade Redemption.
Heard of that one.
And Miss T says, yes it is! What she does. Let's see, what is Mage the Ascension? You're lying to me. I clicked it, and then nothing has it sent me to just the Mage the Ascension. Okay. Now, Mage the Ascension. I'm gonna look at that. Hang on. I'm looking that one up because
That one has me curious, because I love me some Mage Ascension.
What is this? It's
Like-
an app?
What? Is it a mobile game?
Android apps on Google Play, Refuge on the App Store, iTunes. It's an app. It's a mobile game.
Is it available for iOS?
Yeah, it is.
Does it cost money?
I don't know.
Let's find out.
Yes, it does. $5.
Damn it! Hopefully that means it's at least good, though. Because if they're charging money for a mobile app, then it's at least some indication of potential quality.
The one I'm looking at is for Google Play, It's only got 83 total votes. 36 of them are 5-star, 27 are 4-star, 11 are 3-star, 3 are 2, and 6 are 1-star.
Ooh, that's a little rough.
Yeah, I don't know. Don't know.
Hi!
Bunny says, don't speak of annihilation. It makes me want to stick a chainsaw in my face.
Is that good, huh?
Shield says, also, I think I have my final loadout for Fallout New Vegas, and it hasn't crashed the game.
Good times.
Marcus Spearby. Chris the Pirate says, one thing I have noticed, though, in Masquerade is that all the vampires are supposedly descended from the biblical Cain, so Masquerade god exists, but in the game Bloodlines, which is canon, it has a dinosaur skeleton, so either Masquerade says someone is faking dinosaurs, or that god also made dinosaurs. But I don't think it's ever answered either way, which makes me laugh.
I mean, you can have an over-deity and dinosaurs in the same universe.
You can even have the Christian god with dinosaurs.
Those are not mutually exclusive concepts.
No. I've always found it strange that people think they are.
Yeah, they're really not.
I mean, the whole 7 days thing is where most people get the whole thing can't happen. But then I'm like, what is a day to God?
I hate to tell a lot of the folks that think the Earth is 5,000 years old, that's a misinterpretation. Like, that was a mistranslation from several translations ago that led people to think that the Earth is only a few thousand years old.
Just like the Red Sea is supposed to be the Reed Sea.
It's the Sea of Reeds, not the Red Sea. So
it's a mistranslation, and it's misconstrued.
Yeah, I mean, it's a misinterpretation.
Even if you were going to go with it took what was it, 7 days to make until man was made. Even if you're going with that.
A day is still...
A day to go...
It's referential...
He didn't make the sun until, like, day 2
exactly.
Or something like that. So it's like, what is a day to God?
Well, and the other part to those sorts of things is to remember we're essentially dealing with, in like literary analysis terms, unreliable narrators.
Yeah,
These are people that are trying to, if you even take it at face value, interpret things that are far above their pay grade, as it were. So there's that.
Yeah. Chris the Pirate says, I know, but I like the idea that someone's running around faking dinosaurs.
Oh yeah, there's a...
it's very amusing.
Oh man, I forget which stand-up comic it is, and I hate to just tell people's jokes without crediting them.
But you can't
I can't remember. So if anyone knows, please say so. Their whole joke was essentially just like, I love the idea that, you know, there's that common, like, hyper-conservative thing of, oh, dinosaurs are the remains, they were put there to test our faith. And I love the idea of prankster God who's just creeping around like, oh, this'll fit, this'll fool him. Like, I love that imagery.
Shield says, unless I go back into the Nexus and find more mods, then I will have to do another purge. Yep. Marcus is also back.
That Bastion is good.
Wow, this was updated, the Mage game.
Mm-hmm.
Updated in June of this year.
So that's relatively recent.
There's only 1,000 to 5,000 installs of the game, though.
Ooh, that's not so good.
Not many people have
Not so
it.
good at all.
That would probably explain why there's not that many ratings. Let's see. Yeah, it's also 5 in the for iPhone.
Gotcha.
Users. Does this one not have a... This one only has 21 ratings. Wow, this application hasn't received enough ratings to display a summary.
Oh, that's rough.
Ooh.
Hi, Torby.
And you must be at least 17 years old to download this app.
No!
This one was also updated in June. So. Bunny says, want to know something sad? I'm having fun fishing in Warframe.
Wait, you can fish in Warframe?
Then I would playing Destiny 2. It's sad.
Yes, it really sounds like, from a lot of my acquaintances that play Destiny 2, like it's very much a flash in the pan kind of game.
Like, it's not what... It's not.
Like the first game. Sorry, shots fired!
Yeah, let's see. Chris Pirate says, I mean, considering how much power the Camarilla have in Masquerade, it would not surprise me if they had fake dinosaurs just to have a laugh. Just a Malkavian and a I don't know how to pronounce the one that starts with TZ.
Depending on the setting, I can actually see that.
To mess with people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very much rooted in the lore, though. The thing is, like, if it is supposedly set in real world, then a lot of the mythology that is misinterpreted, that does give people the mistaken interpretation of the mutual exclusivity of dinosaurs or biblical accuracy, then you do have to kind of account for those things. And again, coming from someone, like, I'm not just talking out my ass here, I'm not unresearched. Remember, I very nearly majored in theology in college. And I have an intense fascination with these sorts of things. Those two concepts are not mutually exclusive.
Bunny says, yes, you can fish in Warframe, as of the Plains of Eidolon patch.
Huh.
That's amazing.
Interesting. I know I had a lot of fun fishing in Final Fantasy XI.
Okay, we've got Mage the Ascension Refuge. I'm on the actual webpage of the people who made it. A game exclusive to digital, Mage the Ascension Refuge is inspired by the role-playing game of the same name, a text-based interactive game with a rich scenario full of plot twists. The action takes place in a world at the dawn of a political revolution. True Magic's awakening enables people to shape reality thanks only to the strength of their belief. Each decision you make could change everything. Would you play it safe or be a risk taker? The choice is yours. It's an interactive novel. Huh. This is saying. Basically.
I think I may have just enabled our charge. Come on, guys, follow through on what I could not. I pulled off a mass hack.
Buddy says, I did some fishing in World of Warcraft.
It was actually really relaxing in Final Fantasy XI. I loved fishing in that game.
Well, apparently some people did like it a lot, but others didn't.
Some people will like just about anything. It's just it's whether or not it was a majority that I'm concerned about.
Excellent written interlude to the mage setting. Absolutely recommend it, even to anyone not familiar with World of Darkness setting. Was a quote from Android reviewer. Mage the Ascension is a perfect example of a role-playing game that will really make you think of the past, present, and the future. Which I think that one. The problem is that one's Mage the Ascension. I don't know that that's talking about Mage the Ascension Refuge.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Shit. Get on the point! Ah!
Miss T goes, meanwhile, fishing in Minecraft.
Aw.
The situational relevance is real. She's fishing in Minecraft currently.
Oh, like right now.
I don't want to spend $5 though.
Yeah, I don't
on
either.
Something that doesn't have a lot of reviews. I'm always very cautious of that.
Well, and especially when large companies take really cherished IPs and then make like a mobile spin-off of it, I'm always...
That was Asmodee publisher, and I have never heard of them.
Did they license it out?
I think so.
Oh,
I think that might have been licensed out.
Red flag number 2. Holy crap, that Torby did amazing.
Bunny says, I can say the same for Warframe. I also wish Bungie would know what the fuck they are doing. Because they took a huge step backwards from D1, even though that ain't that good either. Yeah.
Destiny is one that when it was getting like promoted and hyped at like E3, I was actually pretty excited about it. It looked cool. And then I heard like the launch consensus about it, and I was just like, I think I'll wait. I'll see if they add more content to it. And then they didn't. And all of the story stayed essentially outside the game.
Yeah.
And from what I've heard, Destiny 2 is just more of the same. And I'm like, man, that's such a shame, because there was such a cool idea there.
Yeah. Chris the Pirate says, Cheris Games, bad mobile ports? Stares angrily at EA's Dungeon Keeper. I think I'm going to duck out here and work on some writing for a while. Enjoy. But it says, speaking of mobile spin-off, Dungeon Keeper.
Yeah, there we go. There it is again. The most infamous of mobile spin-offs.
Oh boy.
I've never played it. However, I saw...
Not. Well, I will not.
Oh, I won't either. I saw enough from Total Biscuit and Jim Sterling covering that to know that it's not worth touching, even to laugh at as an abysmal port. It's just not worth your time in any way, shape, or form. just don't even waste the time.
Don't bother. But he said, I'm sure it ain't the only one. Oh, I'm sure it's not.
No, it's absolutely not. Man, I feel like I even played like a shitty spinoff just a few weeks ago. Cause I found, since I'm a recent comer to the smartphone game, I'm extremely picky when it comes to mobile games. I don't have the patience for, even on a mobile platform, mobilitis shit most of the time. There are really just 3 games that I play regularly on my iPhone. Final Fantasy Record Keeper, Fire Emblem Heroes, and Tiny Rails. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
I love all 3 of them so much. That's pretty much the only ones that have held my interest, though.
Ghost says, you know something? It's funny knowing that you guys are actually reversed. It really threw me off when stream started. Yeah, we are not on the sides you think we are.
Yeah, I've got the camera mirrored. Well, that's the other thing, like, my stepdad is the one that kind of ribbed me a little on it, and I was just like, no, you're not wrong. My one, like, Hollywoodism is that I specifically position the camera on my left at a canted angle.
Good side.
I do. I honestly do. I think from a camera perspective.
You know the sad part is that's not my good side. That's my bad side.
Well, you've never told me that.
Because I knew you're not going to change it just because it's my bad side. So there's no point.
We can if you're in the.
No, we are not moving that whole thing over to the other. No.
Okay, I'm just saying we can.
Because then we'd have to change all the lighting because it would no longer function properly. I don't look good on that side. I actually look better the other way, personally. That's actually my personal thing. I don't actually see that you have a good or bad side.
I think I do, just because of the way that my hairline is and the direction that my hair goes naturally. I've looked. If I position the camera to my right, I don't think my hairline and stuff looks as good from that side. So that's why I always put it on the left, and it's always at like a canted angle so I can still face the camera well. But that way, like, this side doesn't face the camera very often.
Mm-hmm.
It's my one.
Yeah, I personally think my good side is the other one.
You've never told me that.
I know, because I didn't. There was no point as far as I was concerned, because it wasn't going to change.
Well,
we can't.
I was going to say
go over there. That's why I have said it now.
Okay.
Because now there's a potential reason.
We arrange the secondary camera for your desk, then we can put it on the right.
Yeah.
See, there we go. We can make it work for each of us.
Yeah.
This is good.
Let's see. Chris Pirate says, I still play Plants vs. Zombies, and Tiny Rails is awesome.
It is! It's so good!
I have no good size. I'm a fuzzy potato with curly, crazy hair.
I mean, so am I. I've just learned which side of that potato is at least palatable for you. What?
Putting yourself down.
I'm glorious.
I married you. If you're going to say that
is
you
that
are
where we're
not
going?
attractive,
Oh, okay.
then you are saying I have bad...
okay, so self-deprecating humor is now insulting your taste.
Yes, it is. So no more putting yourself down. Because you're not a fuzzy potato.
Oh, thanks. Fair enough.
Hey, that's how I'm trying to get over my whole thing on not thinking I'm not that attractive. Because I think you have good taste in most things. So I'm going to go ahead and give myself the benefit of the doubt and say you do have good tastes.
That's fair. That's fair.
And if I'm going to do that, so are you. So
that's fair. We can agree on that.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yep. And Gus says, yep, didn't you know how that works? Chris Pirate says, I made a steam train in Tiny Rails. Go Mach 2 with the speed boost.
I love doing that. It's so much fun.
Let's see. So it says, also in the latest vlog, you must have scratched your forehead between cuts.
I did.
All of a sudden, there's a huge red spot right in the middle of your head.
Yeah, I just got that giant red splotch. I didn't know until I went to edit it.
Yep, that's what he did. He scratched. Sheila says, sounds like someone is going to be sleeping on the couch. We actually have a couch bed now.
We do.
So he could technically
Ghost helped us make it.
Yeah. Let's see. Ghost says, Ken should have known better. Yep, couch is definitely in the future. It's surprisingly comfortable. Smiley face.
Mm-hmm.
But he says, I play the fuck out of Hungry Shark, which is even more fun than Destiny. No, I'm not going to let that go. Chris the Pirate says, I also have no idea how to smile without looking like a deranged serial killer.
Actually, I feel your pain there. That was something that I had to learn how to do when I transitioned from working in a corrections environment to a sales environment. I had to change my entire presentation to people. The way I carry myself, the way I look at people, the way I meet people's eyes, the angle of my head so that I'm not quite as tilted down to look slightly imposing at all times. The little things that you just learn to do so that you have command presence in a law enforcement setting, you have to totally change all of those gears to appear personable and approachable and nice and easy to talk to for a sales setting. And so I had to learn how to smile without looking like I knew something or that I like had an advantage. I just had to smile charmingly and like a nice guy. And that was weird for me.
Yeah, I can't honestly say I understand because you've always smiled charmingly at me, so I don't know.
I mean, it's well, like whenever I would smile at you, I meant it. It sounds so simple.
Bad.
It does. It's just.
I meant it. That's why I didn't.
Well, I mean, if you're in a sales scenario and you're walking in the 30th door of the day, are you really excited to see the secretary that instantly hates you the second you walk in the door and you know it? You have to play nice, though, because otherwise she's just going to tell you to get the fuck out? No, you're not happy to see her, just like she's not happy to see you.
Scott says, moral, cops shouldn't do door-to-door.
No, we really should, even though I was considered one of the stronger sales folks we had.
Let's see. Bunny says, by the way, I recommend Hungry Shark. It's fun. You get to play as a fucking megalodon.
I know, I've seen
Come
it.
the fuck on, people.
I still need to actually set my phone to connect to our Wi-Fi so I can download it, because I tried downloading that with my mobile connection, and it was just like, no, it's too large, make it stop. I was like, alright, fine. So, I'm gonna try that one. I actually have that on my list. Mm-hmm. I just gotta take the time to set up my phone to Wi-Fi here at the house.
Which he's very bad about doing that.
I am, because I've got a super good mobile connection. I don't need to most of the time.
I'm so jelly, because your new phone has such a better connection compared to my old phone, and it's...
I know people gave it a lot of shit for not having a headphone jack, and now that I have like Pandora and stuff, yeah, it's annoying for me too. I really like my iPhone 8. It's good. I like it.
Chris Paris says, yeah, what Ken said. I can't fake a smile. I can't smile on command, so I look weird in every picture of me ever.
I know how to put on a polite smile now, and that's the way that I had to mentally think of it.
It's your polite smile.
Yeah, I had to not think of it as a fake smile, because then it was always just like, hi. You know, I have to think of it as, this is an etiquette measure. You know, you don't greet someone looking like you want to murder them straight out the door. You greet them with at least a polite smile, and that is the way I had to learn to look at it and think at it, think about it even. For myself to start doing it and to achieve the result that I was supposed to with it.
Yeah. So it says, were you so good at sales because you wouldn't take no for an answer?
No, I was actually told that I took no way too easily. Because I respect people and their judgment, so I didn't
so
like...
if they said no, then you didn't push it.
Yeah, the only thing that I would do to try and get around a no is instead of going, well, are you sure? It was just like, okay, have you accounted for this part of it that might help, though? Would that change your mind? If it was just a flat no, I accepted that, because it's just, again, for me, I respect people and their knowledge of what's good for them, and I personally don't like pushy, salesy attitudes from people, so I didn't want to do that thing. I didn't want to be that guy.
Yeah, and Bunny says, I'll avoid the I suck phones.
I don't mind them. I don't like Apple computers. Just straight up, I don't like them. I don't mind their phone, though.
Let's see. Ghost says Vi needs a Samsung S8 badly.
Oh, yeah, hi. Saw ya.
I'm kind of hoping it's a Christmas present.
Hi, how's it going?
Ooh.
I gotcha.
Oh,
Whoa, got Tracer!
There's right there.
Go away!
Chris Paris says, speaking of looking like you want to murder someone straight up the door, the death stare / dead eyes and blank facial expression as well as the quizzical eyebrow raise is basically genetic in my family.
You will see a fair amount of that in the short shorts to come out throughout the next few days.
The resting serial killer face?
Oh, yes. Not even resting. active serial killer face.
Evil Buddy says, I can't stand Apple, period. I don't like the way that they've...
Yeah, especially, like, since they lost Steve Jobs, they've kind of lost their way, honestly.
And I think I would rather be able to use any micro USB thing
Yeah.
for my phone.
Apple's love of proprietary, not only software, hardware is annoying, not gonna lie.
Because it doesn't use anything that everything else does.
Yeah, like, not even friggin' charging cables. Like, come on, Apple. Let me just charge it with a micro USB like everyone else.
Yeah.
You gotta have your special hardware, though.
Yeah. So it says, ooh, we get more from Kin the Nutmonger?
Oh,
Yay!
yes.
Oh, yes. There's many...
I don't keep the Nutmonger persona for too long. I adopt a different one after a while.
Yeah. Let's see. Chris Paris says, I'm kind of excited to see the new OnePlus 5T soon.
The what now?
I don't know. I think it's a phone? Maybe?
Oh.
Some kind of phone? Chris Paris says, I can do all of those things on command, but I can't smile. It's annoying. Mark says, I got the same problem. I got perma mugshot face. Noah says, good news! New riff written at a draft song.
Congrats, matey. I did see...
Ghost says, unfortunately, the S8 uses a USB-C, but it also provides a charger cable and adapter for regular USB.
Oh, well, that's cool. I saw actually just today in my newsfeed that apparently Razer, as in like the gaming peripheral company, are now making gaming phones. This is news to me. It sounds cool, though.
Let's see. Scarlett says, oh, I love the Scandinavian nutmonger voice.
I didn't realize until I'd already done like 2 videos with it what my subconscious mental inspiration for it was. It's Swedish Chef from the Muppets. I didn't know until later because my mom heard me doing it and she was like, that sounds familiar. I'm like, yeah, it does actually. What is that? And then suddenly all I heard in my head was a herk-a-dirk bork bork. I'm like, oh my god, it's Swedish Chef.
Sci-Fi Gamer says, my happy face has been described as content.
That's good though. Content is fine.
Yeah, but that's the true happy face. It's just content.
Well, yeah.
There is no happy. There is just content.
One of those folks that when you're super excited, you just look like you're like, oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
The rest of the time, you're just like, I hate Earth.
It's like deadpan, just no emotion. Chris the Pirate says, OnePlus is an Android company, and the 5T is their new phone. Well, it's an upgrade of their 5.
Cool.
Chris asked, Ken, does this mean we will see the return of Pablo in his best box?
Actually, yes, because I have had... That's not the character that I adopt midweek, mind you. I have actually had the itch to play some more Turbo Dismount and some Guts and Glory, so that's one of the things that I'm going to do some of in the next couple of weeks.
Pablo will return.
Oh yes, the return of Pablo! Call it Batba! It cries for glory! Truly, the chariot of the gods. The Batba.
Let's see. Scott says, Ken, awesome challenge. Do the next 5 minutes of stream as Nutmonger.
I don't think I can keep it up for a full 5 minutes.
Go ahead and try it. I've got the time.
I've got like a face for it too. The Nutmonger.
Do it.
The life of a Nutmonger. It is quite hard. Overwatch is fun though. It allows me to get out the aggression. But the nuts, they have to make me conjure straight up. Because nuts, as much as I love them, and as much as they are the fruit of the earth, they do lead one to foster quite a rage at all of humanity. They're so damn heavy, man.
Marcus is hitting the bed. Night, y'all. And Ghost says, I miss Pablo.
Pablo shall make his return, for he is my friend and comrade.
Chris Pirate says, every time Ken said Nutmonger, my mind gets dirtier and dirtier.
Yeah, I had initially conceptualized
you
it.
Broke it!
Oh, I did.
You did.
Didn't even think about it. I'd initially conceptualized it as the Nut Merchant, and then my mind stumbled on the older term monger. Because like one of my favorite old, I don't even remember where it came from. It was from like a movie or a show or something. Is a fishmonger, and I don't know. I love the word monger as a synonym for a seller of things.
Yep.
And
Marcus says, also, Ken, you do realize those 2 pics you posted on Discord are gonna get memed, right?
Oh, of course. Why do you think I chose them? There are actually, I was making the thumbnails for all of the little shorts Was that today or was that yesterday? That was yesterday. There are so many stills that I took from those videos that I want to
They're
release.
ripe for memeing.
Oh yes, like I want to, and yet I'm a little scared of what y'all would do with them, because there are some good ones. And that's part of the thing.
Scarlett says, so that makes me a burger monger. I can live with this.
Or for a little more suggestive, a meat monger.
If you work at Arby's, yes.
Yeah, they have the meats. I love their commercials, just for their tagline.
They do have the meat, and it's good meat too.
It is. Arby's is really good.
Dang it! Now I want Arby's.
Honestly, like Arby's and Wendy's, I think have the best fast food burgers. I used to say Jack in the Box, not so much anymore.
I'm very sad now because we can't have Arby's. They close in 30 minutes.
They do. Yeah.
I want Arby's. Why did you have to say it?
Tomorrow. We can get Arby's tomorrow.
Promise.
Okay.
I want Arby's and their curly fries.
They do have good curly, because their curly fries, they rival Jack in the Box.
They do. They do. Scott says, thanks, kid.
Damn it, Reaper. Go away. Whoa. Owie. Damn you, Bastion! I fought against such tanks in the war when I learned my appreciation for nuts, for it was the only thing that remained edible in my rations. Everything else went sour, like my heart. Man, the Nutmonger's a terrible person. When did that happen? I was just going full stream of consciousness mode there. Man, Nutmonger has lived a hard life.
Yep. Chris Pryor says, Kid Vi, if you ever come to Scotland, I am taking you for some amazing burgers.
Do it!
Sounds
I would
good.
love that.
Well, the thing is, there are amazing burgers, but they're not fast food burgers.
Yeah, all the good burgers here in the States. Hey, welcome to Good Burger. I'm on the Good Burger. Sorry. That's just pure mental association. They're all at, like, sit-down places.
Like, they're not fast food.
They're at, like, steakhouses and bars and stuff like that. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, there are some delicious
Oh, there
burgers
are.
to be had.
Oh, yes.
But-
Friggin-lutely. They're just not, available at a drive-thru.
We're lazy.
Well, and I also have things to do with my time, so...
Yeah. But we would love to have some amazing burgers in
Hell
Scotland.
yeah.
We would love to.
I am super down for that jam.
No one can hide
Does anyone even remember Good Burger anymore? Like, is Kel Williams even relevant these days?
Probably not, no. Are we stuck?
No.
Okay.
Just, whoa! Hi! That's play of the game.
Yep.
That's it right there. Holy shit, not even mad. That was super impressive.
And then suddenly-
Wow! That was a 5-kill.
That was
Holy
impressive.
shit. How many people are on this team? That was a squad wipe. Well, no, because we have 6 people on the team. Very nearly a squad wipe.
That was impressive.
Damn. That's how you play a Reaper.
Scott says, if y'all come to my cost store, I'll make you some great burgers special.
Good times.
That sounds
Whoa.
mildly threatening. I'm not sure.
It's either threatening or suggestive. Ow!
Or you're just going to make us some delicious burgers.
Yeah, or that. Or that.
Yeah. Chris Pryor says, speaking of burgers, next time I go to Edinburgh, I need to watch people get scared shitless at 1 p.m.
Why do you get scared in Edinburgh? Do they fire like a cannon or something to sound the time?
I don't know. So it says McDonald's, I meant. Oh, if y'all come to my McDonald's store, I'll make you some great burgers
Oh, that's right. Don't y'all call it like Macca's or something in Oz?
Macca's.
I could swear I've heard
I think that is what... Which I didn't know.
It's like some people here in the States call it Mickey D's.
Actually, that was
my
a
grandparents-
jokey sound. A jokey way to say it when I was a kid.
My grandparents like legit call it Mickey D's.
Mm-hmm.
Oh god!
Well, I call Walmart Wally World.
Wally World, yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Caspar says, can't it be threateningly suggestive? And yes, they do
That's true.
fire
That's true.
cannon.
Okay, I
That
can
is
swear
awesome.
I heard something about some European city that does that, and I don't remember which one.
And so it's like, you don't call it that? Wow, I learned a thing.
Yeah.
No, we don't.
No, it's just called McDonald's around here.
McDonald's or Mickey D's or...
Pretty much it, really.
That's it. That's
I did learn recently, and Noah, you may appreciate this, that I need to stop a habit that I had for a long time. It was a joke. Like, I did not understand that this joke could get misconstrued. Construed, even. Really horribly in a way that I absolutely did not mean. There's a grocery store chain. I don't know if it's just here in Texas. It's throughout at least part of the South.
Apparently, I've been pronouncing it wrong. The city name is Edinburgh.
Oh, you don't pronounce the G?
No.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. I learned a thing.
So joke, misconstrued.
Yeah, there's a grocery store chain here in at least Texas. I think several other states as well. Called HEB. Cool chain. They've actually done a lot to help out with some of the relief effort here in Texas after Hurricane Harvey. So lots of respect for them. So as a joke, to pronounce their acronym name phonetically, for some reason I just chose to go like full Germanic. I just jokingly referred to it as Das Heb for a long time. I didn't think anything of it. I just thought it sounds funny coming out of my mouth. And then I learned that apparently Heb is an extremely derogatory term for Jewish people, referring to Hebrew. Yes!
Oh.
I didn't know that!
Oh, wow. Yeah, we're not going to
it's apparently it's
we're going to have to break ourselves with that.
Yes, we are.
Oh my gosh.
Apparently it's a derogatory term rooted in the word Hebrew, as in like the Jewish language. So I did not know that until recently, and one of my friends was like, you know what that means, right? And I was just like, no, what are you talking about? And then he filled me in, I'm like, oh shit! I've said that for so long!
It's like using the word gypped.
Yeah, exactly. That's another one that I had to eliminate from my vocabulary, because I never...
found that one out and told you.
Yeah. It never occurred to me to think about the etymology of the verb in common vernacular here in the States of gypped, as in, like, I got cheated out of usually money, referring to gypsies. It's like using Jude as a verb of like cheated out of money. Not cool to say.
Yeah.
So I never knew that that's what that word was rooted in, like the history of the term. So I'm like, shit, eliminate, red marker, scratch it out of my vocabulary.
Yep. Let's see. Chris, the pirate says, if you go up to Edinburgh Castle and look through the telescopes, you can see people crap themselves, and they usually drop to the floor when the cannon goes off.
That's awesome.
Noah says, new riff is done and recorded. It's posted in Discord's music channel, so you check it out during closing or after Stram.
Good times, matey.
Can I still call Walmart Wally World?
As far as I know, yes. I don't think that can accidentally get misconstrued as a racial slur.
I hope not. Because I'll feel really bad if I can.
That's the thing, is like, I don't want to friggin' make people mad.
That's not what we're about.
Oh. I kind of take, like, the Dan Avedon of Game Grumps thing. Like, I don't actually care so much about the politically correct part of it. I don't like making people feel terrible about themselves or anything. Or, like, just conjuring up negative emotions from people unless I'm, like, intentionally talking about a heavy subject that just isn't fun to talk about. I like, even then, though, I don't like making people feel not good about themselves. So I intentionally go out of my way to make sure that the phrasing that I'm using for things can't, even indirectly, make people feel not good. I don't want to friggin' do that.
Yep. Chris Pyro wants to know if we heard about Kevin Spacey.
His weird, like, shit that he did a long time ago, that he apparently said he didn't deny that he was probably drunk at the time and then, like, doesn't remember accidentally coming on to an underage dude. I think that was him.
Yeah, a 14-year-old.
Yeah. I don't know. I heard something really vague about that. I haven't read very much about it. The one thing that I am... It's weird, sort of in the talking about heavy things. I'm weirdly glad to see... This is absolutely
this has
that.
To be it. It is. No?
Huh?
No, yes.
Oh, he just started it off with a kill... So this was a squad wipe. Because there was a kill downstairs, and then there's all 5 of us there. So yeah, that was a full squad wipe.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Go give him.
Yes. All the commendations for that, man.
Solo kills.
Jeez. Okay, so anyway, what was I saying?
heavy stuff. Something.
Oh yeah. Following, and I'm only going to touch on this cursorily because it's not something that I want to. Yeah.
Does that mean we get another? Yes, it does. Ooh.
Earned a portrait. Cool.
What's a portrait?
It's not a topic that I want to hang on for very long. Just to touch on it though, I am happy to see that following all of the people coming forward with their stories, particularly regarding Harvey Weinstein, total douchebag apparently, that a lot of people are now feeling empowered and safe to step forward with things that, due to the pressures of especially the Hollywood environment, and even in some others like in scientific circles and stuff, and in some corporate environments, that just because someone holds a position of power and influence doesn't necessarily mean now that so many people are actually starting to say, hey, I kept silent about these things because there were intense pressures to do so. These things happened though, and these people aren't always that great. They did some...
Can we go see that movie poster?
Movie poster?
Right there. No, right there.
Oh.
Right there.
That's cool. And to actually start holding people whose positions once shielded them accountable for the unsavory things that they've done. That's good to see. That is way too long in coming.
Yeah.
And I like too that, as far as like so far is concerned, it hasn't really turned into like a false accusation, like crazy witch hunt. Like, no, the things that are getting said are pretty much factual. And like I said, it's people should get...
As far as we know.
Yes, as far as we can tell. And you know, I'm a firm proponent of personal responsibility and accountability. And so even though a lot of these things are particularly for the victims, you know, long in coming for them to finally receive the support that they should have received a long time ago. It's good to see that it's finally starting to turn into a more safe environment, at least here in the States, for people to, oh, hey, stack of currency, to report and to talk about, and in some cases to even alert authorities to the unethical, illegal in some cases, and just immoral activities that a lot of folks have just gotten away with because of power and prestige for a long time. And that needs to stop and has needed to stop. So yeah. That's my commentary there.
Also, what is a portrait?
I think it's one of the like character avatars.
Oh, okay.
Okay, two players here.
So that movie poster was Diva, wasn't it?
Was it?
Yeah, because it was a brunette with headphones.
Maybe.
In a
I
gun.
don't know. Whoa, excuse me.
Ghost says, I love Roadhog. He is so good.
I can't figure out how to play well with him. I've tried a few times. He doesn't click for me. I do like on this map that there's a whole lot of environmental storytelling.
Yeah.
Like all these crunched up pre-Orisa units. I forget what they're actually called. And, like, these are the things that Orisa's made of. And like this was one of the first like hints about Doomfist.
Yeah.
I just wish there were more
Ghost says
in-game
it's all
story.
about locking people down.
Yeah. And I've had, especially on that one, it's like a coastal villa kind of map, I've had so many roadhogs chain pull me off the cliff to my death. It happens so often!
Yeah. Ghost says the right-click shotgun is brutal at most ranges. Chris Pyro says, something kind of funny I have noticed is that when my username was Scottish Pyro, Vi just called me Pyro, but now that it's Chris, the Pyro kind of trips Vi up a tiny bit, and she says the full username. Honestly, that's because I expected that you were Scottish Pyro, but I wasn't sure. So in case you were a different person, I didn't want to say that you were this.
I thought you already knew, because I already knew that his name is Chris.
No, I did not know.
Sorry, I could have clarified that for you.
No, so I was trying to be careful.
Yeah, that's
Which
good.
is why
that is
I'm
good.
going back to call you Pyro now that you're Pyro. Congratulations. You have been demoted from Chris to Pyro.
You don't get your real name anymore.
That's okay. If you want to be called Chris, I'll call you Chris. It's just whatever you prefer.
We respect your life choices.
Yes. Whatever you want to be called is how I'll call you.
Yeah, seriously.
Ghost says, plus he can heal himself a lot. Yep, that is fun. And chain pulling vertically.
He's got his little chug.
I thought you were Scottish Pyro, but I wasn't 100%, and I didn't want to be all weird and ask, and then you not be, because I'm very conscious about how awkward that can be.
Yeah, totally. I get you.
So I'm like, I don't know. I'm just gonna play on the safe side.
You know what time it is.
Is it high noon? No, it's not.
Apparently it's not high noon. Well, now it's sort of high noon. There we go. Well, I took out one robot. Great.
Congrats.
It was an uneventful high noon.
Pyro says, call me whatever, I just found it amusing. Well, at least my conscientiousness was amusing. Instead of annoying. Let's see. Scarlett says, according to Ken in Attic's video, my name is Portland Lightning. I forgot. Oh, Portland Lightning.
That was the video that midway through recording, I was just like, this...
I was sitting there and dying, trying not to laugh so that you could hear me.
Well, and like, that was the one where I knew midway through recording, this is the point at which we start doing outtakes videos, because I had so many!
There were so many outtakes. We couldn't just put one at the end.
Nah.
There was just too many.
Because there's several episodes where, like, I have, like, one good one, and I'll just put it, like, during the credits.
The credits roll.
That one, y'all saw! There were so many! So...
Loves it. Pyro says, just ignore the fact that my username in Discord has been Chris the Pyro for months now, maybe every year. Thing is, I'm not
She's not on Discord.
I have it on my computer. I have run it a total of one time to set it up. And I've not been on since. So, I've actually had to be like, who are all those people? Like,
well, especially since we've got
like,
the Legion of Noahs in our Discord.
Which Noah is Nomad Noah? I don't know. So I had to ask about that, and then
So we got Nomad Noah, we got Bob Noah, we got Doc Noah.
You just have just Noah on there.
I think that one.
Is that which one?
It changes weekly too.
Yeah, I know. Scott says, "I'll put the description in the link." Yes.
Yes.
And he didn't catch that.
I didn't.
That one he didn't.
I didn't catch it at all.
Don't do it. If you go and you're gonna be like, yeah, it was perfect, I'm gonna be like, you're gonna go into editing and be so upset.
Yep. And that's the thing is, like, we've worked out a really good cooperative understanding of, like, when it's okay to interrupt me when we're in here in the office and I'm recording. Because, like, it really throws me off to have any interruption, understandably. So I know at this point, if she's doing her wave to get my attention off camera, I did something wrong. So I'm just like, oh, what did I do? And then she said it out loud, and I was just like, at first I'm like, no, I said it right. It sounded right. And then I really thought about what I said out loud, and I was like, oh shit, I did, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
God damn it.
Chris Pyre says, see, now I've been saying it all stream, so that's just if there's a Scottish Pyro or a Chris the Pyro, there is a 90-odd% chance it's me. Noah says, we have Ambient Noah, me, Noah, Bob, Undead Noah, Sky, and Secret Noah, Doc. Noah Squad, Noah, Noah.
The Legion of Noahs.
No offense. We're pretty cool. It took me a moment because my comment section, it had just Noah dash and then a new line was the fence part. So I was like, I had to like sound it out loud in my head to figure out what it said. Pyro says, I want to see that now, where Ken makes a link out of a video description that just leads to like a stupid video of Ken doing a silly dance or something.
Like the old Markiplier dancing on the top of his mattress thing. That's right, I remember that. What?
I remember Bulldog.
Boat dog! Yeah. Boat dog! That wasn't that long ago, though.
No, it wasn't.
That was like within the last year.
I actually thought that was 2 years.
No, it's not that long.
Not that
long.
Ow,
Ow, God, go away. Please don't.
I also remember the chef dog.
Whoa!
Don't die.
Avoid the diva nuke. Get wrecked. Oh god. Shit. There we go. We got this. Victory is oh god, no! It's not noon. It's like 1 in the afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine. You're a little late.
Ken should make a version of Markiplier's walking down the street video with all the memes.
Oh, I remember that. I had to think for a second. No, I remember that one now. Or Jack's old, I love nature! That's a serious throwback.
I hear dragons.
Oh yeah, I hear a Hanzo. Get wrecked. Man, I am on point with McCree's shots today. You know what time it is? Ow! Well, I took out the rival McCree at least. I won that duel. He was too slow on the draw. Oh, hey. Thank you. There we go. Alright. That revival just won us the match.
Woo! Let's see. Pyre says, I don't understand these Mark and Jack references. I only started watching them in like the last year-ish. Ghost says, yeah.
Yeah, they go a ways into their past. Because, I think I've... Yeah, where's the blacksmith? Where?
Wow.
That was amazing.
Wow.
That was another squad wipe, so hats off to that guy.
We still won, but...
Yeah, still, that was an amazing play. Yeah, I've said this in the past, although it's because it's relevant in conversation right now. I actually remember the first things from each of them that I watched. The first thing from Mark that I saw was his Nether series. And I still remember when I heard his voice, and I've had people tell me that they had the same thought about me.
It's fake.
Yeah, I was immediately just like, is this guy for real? He sounds like a freaking radio announcer. And then I watched him for several more videos. I'm like, wow, that's really just the way this guy talks. He just has like a really just resonant, cool sounding voice. And then with Jack, it was his...
It was Happy Wheels, wasn't it?
It was not Happy Wheels. That was one of the first that I watched. It wasn't the first. It was Skate 3.
Oh, yeah, it was Skate... I forgot about Skate 3.
Oh, wait, no! No, it wasn't! Actually, that was the first series of Jacks that I watched. The first video was his Mirror's Edge in VR.
That's right.
That was the one that caught my attention. Yeah, because his thumbnail for it was of the point in the game that when I played it normally, it gave me that sinking stomach sensation because I have vertigo, where she like jumps off of the crane. And then it was a thumbnail of that part of the game with the title of Mirror's Edge in VR. I'm like, oh god, that part in VR. No! Let me watch this guy freak out.
Yeah.
And, man, that was Jack in his screechy days, too. And even then, I was just like, this dude has talent.
Yeah.
He is seriously good at what he does.
Yeah.
And, then I started watching Skate 3 and his old GTA 5 videos.
Pyre says, squid wipes are cool to see. Squad wipe. The hell's a squid wipe?
Did I say squid wipe?
No, that's what he accidentally typed.
Oh.
It was a typo, but it was funny.
You could have told me that I said it, and I would have just accepted it.
I'm not gonna be that mean.
Because I jokingly refer to Squad as squid so often that it would not
Squid wipe?
it would not surprise me if I accidentally said it.
Ghost says yes. The Nestor series was awesome. And Scar says Skate 3 with Betty. Yes.
Yes.
Betty.
I think my favorite moment for him in that whole series was like trying to nail that flip ramp thing where he's just like almost crying, it can't be done! Can't be done! And then he nails it and just fucking can be done! That moment, immediately I was just like, I'm sold. I will watch this man forever.
And we have watched him ever since.
I have. Like Jack, honestly, I think has the strongest work ethic of any solo creator on YouTube.
He just goes forever.
The endless energy that man has, and not just on camera, in general, is astounding.
Yeah. Pyra says, my dyslexic typing is being influenced by Ken. Save me!
The epilepsy is contagious.
It's gotten to the point where I can't say the real version anymore. Epilepsy.
Yeah, that's the real condition.
That's the real one.
The serious condition that gets people killed.
But the epilepsy, it's my dyslexia, which I didn't have. I blame you. It got to the point where
I have the excuse of having had 3 concussions in my life.
I don't know what the hell is up with mine. I mean, maybe it had to do with that passing out and whacking my head on the floor in high school.
Probably didn't help.
Thing that people were actually worried was a seizure. It wasn't? Question mark? We don't know, actually. Now I'm worried. Now I'm wondering if that was what happened.
It's like, I've said this in the past, too. I never used to have dyslexia or verbal issues. I do know.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Pyro says, don't think it's contagious, but it's probably genetic. I've had it since I was born. Scarlett says, I found out about Jack from Watch Mojo's Top 10 YouTubers video.
Oh, wow.
The clip was of Skate 3 and Betty slammed into a rail. Scarlett says, I randomly gray out from time to time. Oh my god, it wasn't just me. I've done that, and I've never known what it was. It just happened. It hasn't happened in a long time, though.
Yeah,
but there was a point in time where every now and then I just get this weird, like, not quite pins and needles feeling in my face, and then my eyesight would just fade out completely for just a handful of seconds at a time, then it would come back.
Yeah.
And back in my final year of high school, I had gotten hurt in PE, and so I went to the nurse's office, and they were trying to clean the little AstroTurf rock things out of my elbows, and I had it in my knees too, and they were cleaning the first one, and I could feel that kind of weird blackout coming, but it felt wrong. Like, I mean, it always felt wrong, but felt different, and I was like, I should warn them that something's happened. And then I realized I can't move, I can't talk, it's just gonna happen, and there's nothing I can do about it.
Helpless feeling.
And then suddenly I'm blinking up and being confused because I'm looking at a ceiling, and I'm like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, that sounds familiar, like when I got kicked in the friggin' head.
Yeah, except it just happened.
Yeah.
It freaked the nurses out so bad, like, they were in a panic. And I ended up going to the children's ER downtown, because no one could tell us what it was, and the doctors were like, take her there. It might have been a seizure. You need to make sure everything's okay. Did it. Went there, tests, all that stuff. Still don't know what it was or what caused it. And then it happened once more without the injury part. After I met you, where you had to sit there with me. Because I was freaking out because it felt worse. I don't remember how long that one lasted.
And that was, I think, a good half hour or so.
Where I was just grayed out?
Yeah.
Just sitting there grayed out? That was worse than I thought it was then.
I mean...
Because it had only ever been a couple of seconds, like, before that. Like, I could just be walking across a room and it would happen. And if I was in a place where I knew it, I'd just keep walking because my vision would come back.
I mean, if you're referring to the time when we were here...
Yes, I'm referring to the time when we were here.
Yeah, you were, like, you were conscious the whole time. I could converse with you and get, like, short responses. You weren't really, like, returned to normal, though, for a good half hour.
Yeah. And then there was one time in a store where I just had to sit down and just sit there for, like, 10 minutes. That one freaked my mom out. I haven't had that in several years, though. So I don't know what might have shifted.
I don't know, maybe it's just the circulation thing.
I don't know.
Or hell, that may have also, since you haven't, come to think of it, you haven't had that since we eliminated corn.
No, I haven't.
Maybe that was doing something that we just don't know.
I thought I hadn't had it before that, but...
I don't know.
I don't know. It's been a long time. So it says, that's what I get, and I also often lose balance. This is... Pyro says, oh, I get that too sometimes, just not with the pins and needles. I get wobbly and things go black and then boot back to normal. Yep, that's what happened to me. Scarlett says, yep, only once I lose time and find myself on the floor. Mostly I'll manage to sit or lay down and write it out. Yeah, that's... I'm not alone!
I've only fully...
Do either of you actually know what causes it? Because I've never gotten an answer to that one. I don't know why that happened, or what caused it, or why the particularly bad ones happened. Because it used to be just for anywhere from like a couple of seconds to a minute or so that it used to happen. But then there was apparently the time I was down for half an hour. Another, I know I was out for like 10 minutes. And the one where I actually like passed out, complete lost consciousness, everything that they were afraid was a seizure. It only lasted a little while. Almost as soon as I hit the ground, apparently I sort of woke back up.
Yeah, that's actually how most conscious loss things are.
Yeah,
they don't last very long.
I have no idea what caused it, and after the one where I actually passed out, we never got any answers, so they couldn't find anything on any of the tests that they did. So, if either of you know what that actually causes that, I would love to know. I mean, I'll be honest, I do still get the pins and needles sensation sometimes, but I don't actually gray out anymore, or black out. Because I remember the one where I passed out, it was really weird because it was like watching it, like my normal blackout happen in slow motion. Like usually I'd get the pins and needles, my vision was sort of gray, and then just black out for a couple of seconds and I'd be back. That one, it was like I could feel the pins and needles and it was really, really bad and it felt off. And then I watched everything go grayscale. Like, it was literally like seeing the world in grayscale, like on a computer.
That sounds like a circulation thing.
And then I couldn't move and I couldn't speak, and then everything went black, and then I remember waking up.
Because the going gray, that sounds like circulation to the cranium loss.
Oh. Scar says, I have my theory. I have 80% self-diagnosed myself with low blood iron. And maybe due to low blood oxygen.
We have had several people tell you you're anemic.
It might be anemic.
Maybe it's a thing to do with anemia.
Maybe that's why I got pins and needles whenever it's that time of the month.
Yeah, because that would affect your circulation, like I'm saying, it sounds like. So it may very well reflect an anemia issue.
Actually, I've been kind of feeling that.
Like that makes sense.
And it was just that time of the month.
Yeah,
maybe I need to get some iron supplements.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, they make like iron supplemented vitamins and stuff. So you can just get you some of those.
Yeah. Scott says, whenever it happens to me, I'm aware of it in gray the whole time, but can't do anything about it. Okay, maybe that's what it is. Maybe
that would make sense.
And I do know that the time I passed out, I hadn't eaten lunch. I just had like a thing of milk. And of course the exertion. So it might have been blood oxygen. My blood oxygen level wasn't very good.
Aside from head trauma,
yeah.
The only time I've ever just passed out was, it's because I had just done a full workout, I hadn't eaten dinner yet, and then I immediately got into a hot shower, and I don't even remember falling down, I just remember waking up in the shower with the water having gone cold, and then just like, why does my back hurt? And then I'm like, oh, because the friggin' spigot is gouged into my friggin' kidney.
Yeah. Tyra says, I've also passed out twice. Once in primary school, fainted in a church. My vision went all wobbly. Saw everything upside down. Wobbled and boob on the floor. And in high school, the same thing, except in physics, everything started spinning. So I say to the teacher that I don't feel well. Then suddenly I wake up on the floor with school nurses and the physics teacher looking at me.
Wow.
I utter the famous words of, how did I get on the floor? And nope, I have no idea what caused it.
Yeah, it's kind of like my response when I got kicked in the head and apparently got knocked out for a few seconds in my old Taekwondo class. And I woke up to everyone circled around over me and they're just going, are you okay? And my response was, well, I'm waking up on the ground. You tell me.
Yeah. Scarlett says, I have yet to get any sort of blood tests done yet, but the symptoms and causes school says match my observations of myself.
Makes sense.
I'm going to have to keep an eye on when I get the pins and needles sensation.
Yeah.
Because I do know that I get the pins and needles sensation in my arm if I do this for 5 minutes.
Well, yeah, because it's above your heart.
Yeah,
so.
But I know my circulation is really bad, so it happens to me faster than it does anybody else.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna keep an eye on that.
Yeah.
Maybe.
That may very well explain that.
I might be having, I might have put more iron in my diet, too.
Yeah.
Which might be why I'm not as bad off as I used to be.
Yeah.
Let's see. Paris says, as far as I'm aware, there's nothing medically wrong with me, so I have no idea what caused it in me.
Some people just don't necessarily retain iron very much.
Yeah. I don't know if that's what's going on with you, because yours sounds a little bit different from mine, but I don't know. I mean, I do know that when I did pass out in high school, they couldn't find anything. Like, they did a bunch of tests and stuff because they were concerned, because high school kids don't usually just pass out like that. Like, lose control of all bodily functions, just done. Just down and out. completely. That doesn't usually happen. So they did a lot of tests to try and figure it out. Didn't find anything. So it's quite possible that it's just not easily found, I guess. Let's see. Scott says, red meat is the main iron source for a balanced diet. And you guys have a lot of chilies, right?
Yeah, although we mostly eat chicken there.
You usually eat chicken. I do eat steak, though.
That's true, you do. I don't. You do, though.
I eat steak. I eat lots of burgers. I like burgers. Gus says, alright guys, have a great night. I gotta crash for the night.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Have a good one, man.
Now I'm hungry.
I'm not really hungry. I'm thirsty, though.
I'm hungry.
So, want to call it one more match?
Okay.
Okay. That's what we do.
But yeah, so... I don't know.
Let's see here. What are the alts for Doomfist?
Chris says, Christopher says, does bacon and sausage count as red meat? Because if so, I have a lot of that every week, so it's definitely not an iron thing in me. Whoa, that's awesome.
I love that. Oh, that's so
I think
cool.
we had the exact same. Oh, no. Ooh.
Ooh, that's cool. Oh, I missed the last one.
Aww.
I really like that paint one,
That
though.
painted, that was cool.
That was super cool. All right, let's see here. Last match of the night. Who shall I play as? You know what? Let's try some more
So it's just,
Doomfist.
I eat mostly pasta. The only meat I really eat at all is chicken.
Same, honestly.
We eat a lot of pasta.
I eat a whole lot of pasta, and the meat that I honestly eat the most of is chicken.
Yep.
Followed closely with pork.
I eat a lot of beef. So I eat burgers, I eat roast beef, I eat steak sometimes. But primarily I eat pasta.
Yeah. Super weird for an American. I don't like steak or soda. Like carbonated
You
drinks
just
in
don't
general.
like carbonation.
I don't.
And there are plenty of people who just don't like carbonation.
Like I'm really picky with even like beer and stuff that I drink, because obviously it's got the fizziness to it, and yeah, I'm not always down for that.
Yeah.
So I'm super picky when it comes to those things, and like just sodas in general, I just don't drink them.
Yeah.
Not out of like health concern, just out of just like I don't like it.
Yeah, Paris says, I think my diet consists of pork, pasta, and that might be it. I don't like steak or chicken.
Yeah, you can hand me like a grade A, like I don't even know the terminology because I just don't eat it. Like, is sirloin a good steak? I think it is.
Filet mignon.
Filet mignon. Yeah, you can hand me that and tell me it's amazing, and I'll just take your word for it and go like, you want it? Because I don't.
Yeah. I will say yes because
Oh,
I
I
like
know.
filet mignon.
Here we go. I'm starting to learn a little more.
Scott says another
Whoa.
symptom of low blood iron is shortness of breath or constant lethargy.
Do we have another winner?
No. Yes. So I'm anemic. I had forgotten I was anemic for many years. Whoa.
That's really cool.
Yeah. Thankfully, I haven't had the gray outs in a couple of years, so it's possible that I'm not as bad as I used to be. Though I have had the pins and needles sensation around, it usually happened around my face, like forehead and around my eyes. Sometimes along my jaw, right before it would happen. And I have had that a couple of times.
Oh, damn it.
So I'm thinking I might be.
Yeah, it sounds plausible.
I do know that there's something up with my brain chemistry. So I have a chemical depression. So I know there's at least some of my lethargy is due to that.
Yeah.
Some of it might actually be the anemia then. Though,
That would make sense.
Yeah. And I also, if I do anything even sort of strenuous, physically speaking, I get short of breath really fast. I've always noticed that about myself. Like, even things that I'm like, this shouldn't wind me at all. And you know, I used to say I'm just not in good shape, but I think I've always thought it was a little bit worse than I would have expected for just being in bad shape.
Combination of factors.
Yeah.
Dang.
So it says the reason it's become iron is the main element of the compound hemoglobin, which transports oxygen and CO2 around the bloodstream.
That makes sense. Which is why it reflects circulation issues.
Yeah, and it's probably why when I strain myself even a little bit,
right,
I don't have as much as I need.
Yeah, because you don't actually have the oxygen in your system that you would need. Makes sense.
Okay, so
makes sense.
Does that mean we need to go find iron supplements that don't have corn in them?
Yeah, we should probably just find you vitamins that are iron infused.
That don't have corn in them?
Yeah.
I have a bad feeling that's going to be hard.
It may. Because even in medicines...
corn is used as a binding agent.
Yeah, exactly. Whether it's the starch or the syrup. Corn syrup, like corn is just in like everything.
Yep.
Even
says,
for medicines,
I'm just weird apparently. I think my body just dislikes me.
Everybody's system is weird in some way. That's the thing that modern medicine is only now really starting to come to grips with, is that like there isn't a universal medical answer for all people. Like everyone's system is a little different.
Yeah. Let's see. Paris says, I'm just weird apparently. Oh yeah, I just read that. Sorry. Scarlett says, if you're concerned about it at all, get a blood test done. I would, but we don't have insurance that will cover that easily.
Yeah, because since we don't make much money, we've got
really crap insurance.
Shitty low-tier insurance.
Which is why, even though I have chemical depression, I am not on my antidepressants. I want to be on my antidepressants.
Yeah.
I want them. I want them so bad.
Well, and the open enrollment just started at the first of this month, so we got to do that in the next few days. That way we can get under a new plan, make sure that your plan actually covers your meds, and then we can actually get them again.
And hopefully the plan will actually have doctors in our city.
Yeah, instead of making us go all the way to Galveston or El Paso to get an actual doctor, like our current plan.
Network.
Yeah.
Paris, example, until recently I couldn't blow my nose. I can now blow half my nose. And did I say chemical depression?
Yep.
Yes, I did. I have chemical depression. There's something wrong with my blood chemistry.
Yeah, it's a hormonal imbalance.
Yeah, it's a hormonal imbalance, so I need the antidepressants to put my brain chemistry back where it's supposed to be.
Yep.
And that chemical depression was, for a few years, exacerbated by
situational stress.
Situational stress and depression. It's not as bad as it used to be, but...
Because that's the thing a lot of people don't realize, is that there are multiple types of depression.
Paris said, I thought it was clinical. Clinical can be any kind of depression. That's when you've been diagnosed.
Yeah.
Officially diagnosed with depression is clinical depression.
Yeah.
And it can be a chemical thing, which means that there's a chemical imbalance in your brain.
Or it can also come about through situational circumstances.
Can be situational.
And that sort of depression can get treated therapeutically. Like you can actually work past that kind of depression.
Mm-hmm.
Chemical depression, though, no amount of therapy can fix that.
No. Because there's just literally an imbalance in your brain.
Yeah.
That causes that.
It's a very rough comparison. It's sort of like diabetes in a way. It's like your system just doesn't process things the way it's normally supposed to.
So it says biological chemical imbalance in the brain as opposed to psychological.
Exactly.
Yeah. It can honestly be pretty rough.
Damn.
I've learned to deal with the symptoms. Like I've learned how to kind of mitigate them, even though it's a chemical issue. So I'm not suffering as badly as I might have.
And you've come a long way since we were living in San Marcos.
Since I first ended up that way.
Like especially with your anxiety stuff.
Oh man, I also have.
You have come leagues since then.
Yeah, I also have social anxiety, which isn't that one. That one is just my mental state.
Yeah.
That one has nothing to do with my hormonal imbalance. But yeah, it used to be I couldn't meet people's eyes just walking down the street. I couldn't order my own food at restaurants. I had almost panic attacks just going and asking for help at a store.
Yeah, I think that was one of the moments where your dad realized the severity of it at the time.
Yeah.
Is when you pretty much had a straight up panic attack in a department store, and I think that was his wake up call. Like, wow, this is a lot more.
It was actually Fry's.
Was that a Fry's?
It was Fry's because I wanted a drawing.
Oh
tablet.
yeah. And we were just gonna ask for a price check.
Yeah, we were gonna ask for a price check because they were redoing where everything was and there wasn't a price tag on it.
Yeah.
And I couldn't bring myself to go and ask. I had a panic attack just thinking about it.
Yeah.
That one was pretty rough.
And don't get me wrong, he's always had amazing support for her in particular and us in general. It's just he didn't necessarily live with us at the point when that stuff really set in for her. We were living together at that point. So he was really just kind of taking our word for the level of severity. And that was one of the first times he really saw it. I was like, whoa, this is definitely, significant. Like, we need to do something about this clinically.
Which is why my preferred antidepressant, which helps with my hormonal imbalance, also has a little bit of anti-anxiety meds in it to help me control the symptoms. It's why when I first got my job working where my dad worked, I had a panic attack before my my interview and after my interview. It was.
That's because it put you under intense psychological stress.
It was so bad, the one after, that we had to leave the restaurant I was in because I couldn't stand being around people. That was pretty bad.
That's what I'm saying, though. Is you've come such a long way since then.
I've actually found that sometimes when I'm stressed, it comes back. Like this past week, I was getting stressed due to being in the different area without having you around very much.
Yeah.
And I noticed that when that starts happening and I start getting stressed, some of that comes back and I couldn't meet the eyes of our waiters anymore. Like I would only look about chest high and then I'd look back down at the table. And when I'm tired, sometimes when I'm tired, that happens too. Like I have to make a conscious effort to look up at people and actually meet their eyes. Let's see. It says, I just got over a few weeks of getting extremely angry with colleagues at work. Whenever they did anything I saw as poor effort or something, I'd go full rage. And this last week, I just didn't care or mind all of a sudden. That could mean that there was something going on physiologically that was messing with the hormones. If it just sort of, like, it was intense and then it just sort of stops.
Yeah, that does also sound like an anxiety response.
Yeah, that's also, some people respond to anxiety responses with anger. Yeah. Some with fear.
Some with anger, some with sadness, some with lethargy. Like, that's what I'm saying, is everybody's a little different.
Let's see. Tyra says, sometimes when I think about it, I could very likely have psychological problems, but I'm too lazy to actually find out. Yeah. Ooh. I was like, suddenly there's people there.
Yeah. Gotcha. I'm actually starting to learn Doomfist. He's actually pretty fun. Now that I'm getting a feel for him.
Nice.
Whoa, God. Hi, Genji. Ha! Uppercut, Genji! No.
Oh.
Damn it. Can I jump that? I can uppercut that. Whoa. And to touch on my perspective for the...
Scarlett says, I would get shakes, pins, and needles and start feeling numb. I'd go into the walk-in freezer and punch a fries box instead of a Waller person. Yeah, that's a physiological response to something.
Yeah, that sounds like a stress response.
Yeah.
So...
If it happens again, you might try and see if anything has shifted in, like, your diet or your circumstances to see what might be potentially causing or at least triggering that response. And if it doesn't happen again, don't worry about it.
Yeah. Because, I mean, sometimes stress at work is just stress at work, you know? Other times, stress at work can get amplified through other things that are going on, so it's difficult to tell those apart sometimes. Trust me, I know. Yeah. Oh wait, victory. For some reason, I thought we lost. Hell yeah!
Nice.
Closing out with a victory as Doomfist, whom I apparently really like playing as. Now that I've figured him out some more, he's a lot of fun. So yeah, real quick, touching on the depression thing from my own perspective. I've talked about this vaguely in the past. Though I'm not clinically diagnosed, I know for a fact that I don't think mine is chemical in nature. Mine is more situational and circumstantial. I know I was much deeper in. Whoa, hey, I got 27 eliminations. During the more stressful years of my life that I've thankfully now moved well past. And that's part of what tells me that it's not necessarily chemical, at least not very much, is that when I am removed from anxiety-inducing or stressful scenarios, I am able to remove myself from and to psychologically get past that depressive state. If it were strictly chemical in nature, that wouldn't really make much of a difference.
Pyra says, like, on several occasions, I've needed help in class, and I straight up know that the teacher or lecturer would help me. I have been almost terrified to ask for help to the point where I just sat in class making no progress to the end of the class because I was too nervous to ask. That was me.
Yeah,
that's
a social anxiety.
Me. That's a form of social anxiety.
Yeah, definitely.
And I still struggle with that, to be honest, which is part of why I don't really talk about this much because I'm still upset about it and over it and at myself for it. Is I dropped out of college because something shifted in my biology, and that's when depression kicked in. And because of it, and then the onset of severe social anxiety, because I've always been shy, but it went a completely different level. Because of that, I found it hard to get out of bed, so I would miss classes. I might not understand everything, but I was too scared to go and talk to anybody about getting help, and it just, kept piling up on itself until I was failing my classes. I missed so much school that I wasn't sure I could make it back no matter how hard I tried, and I was too ashamed of myself and too convinced that it was all my fault and that I was a failure. I didn't ask for help from anybody, not even kin. I didn't talk to my parents about it, and then that stress just built up till I had a breakdown one night when Ken came home from work, and that's the only reason anyone ever knew that it was going on, was because I had the breakdown while he was there. And the next day, we called my parents, or rather I had him call my parents because I couldn't do it. And within the week, I was pulled out of classes and had doctor's appointments to try and figure it out and fix it. And I haven't gone back to college. A part of me really wants to, because there's still a part of me that feels like a failure for not doing it. Even if, what I'm doing now doesn't require that I have a college degree, it's still something that I feel like a failure for. But I'm still scared of going back because I'm scared of it happening again and failing again. I'm scared of needing to ask for help or have a question and not being able to actually ask the professor. And that's the sort of thing that you can work past with enough therapy. I just haven't because we moved, and so the therapist I was seeing, we weren't anymore, and then our insurance no longer covers it.
Because we were fortunate at the time that that turning point occurred. I was still working for the county that I was with at the time, and the medical package there was amazing, to the point where, even though we were not married yet,
we were just living together.
The fact that her legal address was listed as the same as my own meant that as far as the county and all of its package was concerned, she was part of my household. And my stuff there was so good that all of my medical stuff also extended to her. So all of the like the therapist visits and stuff, I didn't have to pay a cent for it.
No, it was paid for by the county.
Yeah, the county covered all of that, and I'm extremely happy that we were fortunate in the timing, at least, of that, so that we could get her the help that she needed for that time. Because even we only went to, what was it? It was about a half dozen visits with her.
No, we only had 4.
Was it that? Okay.
We only had 4 visits.
Each of them, though,
they
made a difference.
Yeah. Let's see. Scarlett says, when I worked in retail, I would have to war with myself just to be able to walk up and greet a customer. It's still there a bit for me, too. Pyra says, I should probably seek some kind of psychological help, but then again, too lazy to. Scarlett says, it's a good idea. I should, too. And that's a hell of a bad hand-by. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, it's still kind of rough. And, I have my good days, my bad days. But I handle it much better now than I did back then.
Oh, yeah.
And it's part of why I wanted to stream. Like, just when we first started streaming.
Honestly, streaming has done lots of good for you.
Yeah, and that was the thing, is I felt like it was removed enough that it wouldn't cause the same amount of panic.
Because they're not physically present in the room.
But it was still close enough to it that I could kind of work my way past it by interacting via live stream.
Yeah.
And it really has. Like, I made a concerted effort that I was going to be better about it. So I could talk to you guys. Like, when we decided that this was what we were gonna do, and we were gonna do this full time, I decided that I wanted to be able to do better and to be better and to be able to actually interact with you guys more than just, talking at a camera, clicking record, and then pretending it never happened.
Yeah.
Which is what normal videos were like.
Oh, that's the weird part of recording, is you're really talking to yourself alone in a room. You're just gonna show it to people later.
Yeah.
Whereas live streaming, they're there. We just don't see you.
Can't see you. And Sarah says, glad we could help you, even by default.
Yeah.
And it has. I've gotten much better since we started streaming.
Mm-hmm.
And I think part of it is, the mental decision that I made, that I've stuck to, that I was going to be good enough to do this, that I would do this, even if I freaked myself out early on to do it. So it says, honestly, I've noticed that your recorded stuff isn't as engaging as here on stream. It's not, because I'm not as used to it. I stream more than I've ever recorded.
Yeah.
And
it's
all
a
my
different,
streams are with Ken here, which I've also makes a big difference, because I'm still camera shy. I'm gonna be honest, I am still camera shy, and that makes me come off very stilted a lot of the time.
It's also a different approach to commentary too.
Yeah, it is.
Because live stream is much more informal.
It is. So it says if Stream Vi is the real one. It is.
More or less.
Stream Vi is real Vi, who is projecting her voice so she can be heard on the microphone.
Because we're still using the one mic.
Yeah, so Stream Vi is about as close as you're going to get to real Vi. Like, if you were literally in the room hanging out with us, this is the closest to what I'm normally like. Recording, it's usually because I'm trying to come across as a certain way. Whether or not it works, it usually doesn't, because I'm just I'm not practiced.
Yeah, it comes with time and practice.
I do plan to practice and get better, so I'm a little bit more natural on just straight recorded stuff. But it's because it's a bit more formal that it stresses me out. I honestly, part of the reason I have a hard time with it is it's still hitting my social anxiety button a little bit. Like,
with
and
pre-recorded stuff,
I haven't improved myself in that particular sense.
Yeah, for pre-recorded stuff, there's also, at least for me, there's the knowledge that it will get seen, with more people, and so there's a little more pressure to perform well there.
Pyra says, one time, actually this week in my math class, almost the entire class asked how to start a particular question at some point during the class. So even though 7 people had already asked how to start the question, it took me nearly 10 minutes of sitting in silence to actually ask the lecturer for help. So it says, Violeta, best stream co-pilot ever, smiley face. Aw, thank you.
Makes my life easier.
Noah says, hey, I saw Real Vi. Real Vi was cool, so was Real Ken. Sky says, I'm still jealous of you.
Yeah, you and Ghost are now part of an elite crew.
Yeah. Let's see. Pyre says, I think we need a Discord tab for mental/medical fuckery. So it says, I second that.
Yeah, I can see that.
Sure. Yeah, and that's part of why I've tried to be pretty open about the fact that I do have depression. I have been diagnosed with depression and anxiety. I do have an anxiety disorder that's been diagnosed.
It's diagnosed. Yeah, it's official.
It's official, and I've tried to be pretty open about it whenever it seems like it's something that is mentionable, whether it's because it's mentioned in a game or just the way the conversation goes.
Yeah.
Simply because I know when I was at my worst, I felt really isolated. I felt like a failure, like I was alone, and and after the mental break, when my family found out, I wasn't alone, and they made sure I knew it.
My mom was in our apartment within an hour of the phone call.
She was, and that helped so much. Just that feeling of I'm not alone. It's not all my fault. I'm not a failure for feeling this way, for having these issues. That I know I'm incredibly fortunate to have had the support system I had, because my family has been great about it. Ken's been great. His mom's been great, because she was the closest to us.
Yeah, she lived within half an hour.
She lived within half an hour, so she was there as soon as she could possibly be there. And I'm also aware of the fact that not everyone has that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when we first started LLP, I decided that I was going to be open about it, even if I'm embarrassed or still have a little bit of that lingering, this makes me a failure feeling, even though I know intellectually that's not true. I was going to be open about it because maybe other people don't have the support that I did. And I didn't want anyone else who might be going through anything similar to feel as alone as I felt before my support system was there to essentially force me to believe that it wasn't true.
Yeah.
I wanted to be able to, even if just a little bit, say that I understand, I've been there, and you're not alone, and things can get better. It's not, it doesn't have to stay that way forever. And that's part of why I'm willing to talk about it, because I'm actually a very private person, very introverted, ironically, but I've decided that I was going to be very I can't think of the word.
More like open and supportive? Or,
yes.
Yeah.
I was going to be open about it. I wasn't going to hide it. I wasn't going to pretend that it wasn't there. Even if I wouldn't necessarily want people that I meet now to know that I went through something like that, simply because I don't want that to necessarily be how I'm defined in their minds. But that because, people do watch us, because we do have over 3,000 people subscribe to us, if even one of them, felt less alone by me being willing to say that I went through that, then it was worth it.
We have a platform that we can vicariously affect positive change through, so you're using that for positive things.
Yeah. Now it says, now Ghost and I need to meet. And Ghost will instantly kill me. Pyre says, he will become the new Noah.
Like, if there's any takeaway from especially this conversation, anytime this comes up though, it's that, one, if you do have these same sorts of issues, you're not alone.
You're not alone.
And though it's lifting incrementally every day, it's slow goings, there is still a stigma attached to the concept of mental illness, etc. And I'm happy to see that is receding with time and with common expansion of the understanding of these things and acceptance of them
it's
as
actually part
medical
of,
rather than personal things.
and it's also part of why I don't just love Supernatural for the show, because I do love it for that, but also because one of the main stars is also clinically depressed, and has been very open about that. And that's part of what the Always Keep Fighting t-shirt and gear campaign
You'll have probably seen her wearing that shirt on stream several times.
And that's part of what I really like about that, is because he's being so open about it, and so many people watch and enjoy Supernatural that it can reach all those people, and trying to essentially to normalize the fact that people have this. This isn't, it doesn't make you a freak, it doesn't make you're a bad person or anything like that. It's just another medical thing. And it, whether it's psychological or, a physical imbalance, it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you as a person.
No. It's just like having another form of sickness or injury. It's just like if you get medically affected by something, then you do something to correct that. It's not something that you have any fault for. It's just something that happened to you. Okay.
If you get the flu, you haven't done something intrinsically wrong.
Exactly. If you catch chickenpox, you're not an immoral person, or you're not faking it, or you're not making it up for attention, etc. Insert cliched excuses to dismiss depression here.
Let's see. Pyro says, if I had to describe myself, it would have to be as an extrovert among introverts, but an introvert among extroverts. Very open with people I know, but even if say a parent's friend is in the house, I won't leave my room.
I get that. I really do.
Yeah. I have what I call my peopling tolerance. And
peopling is a verb in our house.
Peopling is a verb. And there comes a point where, as I put it, I have peopled too much. And I can't handle any more peopling. And that's essentially code for, I need to go be an introvert now. Please leave me alone.
Well, there was an interesting...
Scott says there's 4,076 people, to be exact. There's
right.
And I'm glad to be one of them.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We did cross the 4K mark.
So it says, people get broken legs, people get depression.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
And yes, exactly
there was and apparently this is actually psychologically reinforced as a way of looking at it, because it's more of actually the way that socially it functions. The functional definitions of introversion and extroversion are let me see if I remember that, because we were given
it's about how you get recharged. If you're an extrovert, you gain energy by being around other people.
Right.
If you're an introvert, you regain energy by being alone or with a small group of trusted people.
The owner of the sales company that I used to work for, charming doesn't even start to describe this guy. He's one of the most approachable and instantly likable people you could possibly ever meet. Super cool guy. You would think, interacting with him, oh, this guy must have an incredible social life, he's really extroverted. No. And he was the one that explained this and he had an actual expert come in to do a seminar with us in the company meeting hall, that that exact thing is how he's able to come across that way, and that he needs his downtime and his alone time every single day, and that the times that we saw him in the office were at the start of the day for about an hour, and then at the end of the day when we would all come up and essentially debrief ourselves for the day's events. And he's just no, when you guys are out doing all of the sales throughout the day, I need that time alone in the office to just do paperwork, to do the occasional phone call, to answer emails, to just sit here and listen to music, read the paper. I need that recharge time so that I can meet you guys with proper energy as a leader at the start and the end of the day. Because if I had to actually spend time amongst the entire group all day, you would not meet the same person. And I'm I get that. I really do. And so, that difference of spending a lot of time around groups of people, for me, is very draining. I don't thrive on that. I can work well in front of a crowd. I can, in fact, I like to think I have a great stage presence in front of a crowd. However, it's draining for me, and I can't keep it up all day, and it certainly doesn't amp me up more than I ordinarily would feel. And then there are people that are the total opposite, where if they spend too much time alone, that's what makes them like lethargic and just like, and then you put them in a group and suddenly it livens them up.
Yeah. Tyra says, "Oh, I have a whole that's enough social interaction for the week thing." Noah says, "I'm like that too. I don't know how I came off in person camp. I tend to be able to people for about as long as the school day is, and then I start getting tired or frustrated. And when I don't need to be in a group, I tend to people a lot less."
You have a longer tolerance than me, my friend.
That was about as much as I could handle. Honestly, when I was in school, like high school and stuff, of course that was back before my major social anxiety kicked in. But I was very introverted back then too. Mostly what I did, I had a big group of friends and we would hang out. But about half of my time in high school was spent with my nose in a book. Even among my friends. They actually joked that if I was reading, they had to call my name at least 5 times before I would respond to it. So I totally get that. That was my shut everything off. I'm in my own little bubble space.
I spent a lot of time in the school library.
Yep. But yeah, so that's honestly, no matter how you are like among other people, what makes you an introvert or an extrovert is really more about what recharges you, like what gives you energy. Like, do you need that downtime where it's just you and maybe one other person and that's it, and you're alone or basically alone, or do you need that I need to be with people at least this much in a day to be, content and happy?
Yeah, that was actually something that one of my closest friends in late high school and I had to work out, like a comfortable point for each of us, because he was very much an extrovert, as in he needed company to recharge himself, and I'm of course an introvert where I need alone time, and we lived in a neighborhood where like we were the only 2 kids of our age, so
if he wanted company, it was you.
Yeah, exactly. And like I didn't resent his company at all. Like, we were very good friends, and for a long time his dad was sort of like my surrogate dad. I really got along with his family. They were great, and so we needed to find that healthy, comfortable point for each of us where he got enough social time of like us hanging out and playing games and stuff, and yet I was still allowed enough time on my own to decompress. And I really had to make it clear to him, like, no, it's not you. It's not like I can't stand you for a certain amount of time. It's just company in general I can only handle for so long.
Noah says it's more tolerance by mandate than tolerance by preference. On the weekends, I just do my own thing indefinitely, and full disclosure, my real tolerance is like 2 to 3 hours.
Same.
I just don't really talk much at school. I keep actual peopling to a minimum.
Yeah,
learning is much easier for me than socializing.
My social threshold is about 3 hours.
Oof, yeah. That's part of why when he was working sales, I had such a hard time when we'd have to do the weekend get-togethers with everything, because a lot of them were extroverts.
It was mandatory fun.
It was mandatory fun, except it wasn't fun. And if I wanted to spend a weekend with my boyfriend, I had to go because it was mandatory, basically.
Yeah, like it was officially not mandatory. Functionally, it was mandatory.
It was so bad. And I was very fortunate that one of them liked D&D.
Yeah.
So
I
could just sit there and nerd out for a little while instead of having to, talk to these people who like urban living, where I'm like, suburbia is as close as I'm going to get to the
these
urban
folks
thing.
That gotta live downtown, go clubbing on the weekends.
I'm like, no way,
Getting crunk after work, and I'm just like, I want to go home and play Far Cry.
Like, I just want to, no. That was pretty rough, and that was back before I'd really made huge strides with my social anxiety and my ability to people. Honestly, I had made strides at that point, but not quite as much as after forming LLP.
Exactly. You had made some very good strides at that point, like with interacting with like wait staff and stuff. Honestly, I really do think it was once we started streaming.
Oh yeah.
You got way improved.
I did. I made a conscious effort that I was going to do that. That I was going to find a way to freaking do this.
There was actually, I don't know if I've told you about this. I think I have. I don't know if I have. Another one of those. It was me and her dad at a store. I don't remember what it was. I think it was like Best Buy or something. And she just offhandedly mentioned, I wonder if they have X thing. And without any prompting from he or I, she was immediately just like, I'm going to go find someone and ask. And just like went off and found them. And like we could see from like 30 feet away, like she was going to ask this person, like, do you have this thing? Okay, where is it? Can I go see it? And he and I just kind of shot each other a look like, because
a couple years before, that exact thing had me
that same scenario,
hyperventilating, crouched on the floor.
Yeah, and we just kind of like, we shared that look of just like, holy shit, we are so proud of her. She's come so far. So yeah, I can definitely tell you, like, firsthand, you've made immense strides.
Yeah. Scott says, I'm in a challenging position of wanting company, but all the people I want to spend time with are anything from a state to an ocean away. Enter YouTube, Twitch, and Discord.
Yeah.
Oh, we get that one too.
Oh, yeah.
I'm very much the small group sort of person.
Mm-hmm.
But I like to be able to interact with my group.
Yeah,
and if I can't interact with my group, I get grouchy. It's part of, like, I've gotten used to live streaming multiple times in a week. And if we don't live stream multiple times in the week, I start feeling weird. It's like, I don't really like peopling, but I like peopling with certain people. And you guys are my certain people. And I'm just like, I haven't peopled with them for a while. I don't like that.
My closest friends in the world are in California, Illinois, Canada, Massachusetts. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And you guys, which is also...
there is one down the street. How dare you? I'm going to tell her. I'm totally going to tell on you.
You know what I meant. I'm talking about, like...
Your honorary
away
sister-in-law.
from... like away from here is what I mean.
She's pretty much the only one here. Like...
And then, of course, our Euro and Australian communities here.
No, it says there are certain people I can be with for a much longer time, but even then I cap out. And I tend to cap out hard, like, oh wow, look at the time. I'm looking at the my wrist got a bounce. My fuck this-o-meter has gone off. Yep, that's... There sometimes when I'm really tired, I have a hard shut-off switch. Like, a straight, I'm out. If you try to force me to continue peopling, I am not a nice person at that point. And then I hate myself for it later because I'm just like, oh my god, I'm such a terrible person. I don't like this.
I have definitely pulled the look at my phone, pretend I got an urgent message from someone, and just be like, hey, sorry man, I gotta go real quick. And just leave.
Yep. Paris says, oh yeah, when I was in high school, I could people for the week until after school and the weekend. But now that I'm at college, I'm only in 2 days a week. I straight up only leave my house outside of college for a driving lesson, and that's only once every 2 weeks. Pyro does not medically advise sitting inside almost all the time. Do as he says, not as he does. Yep. No, I get you. There was a point at which I left for food. Basically.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, no, that's what we do.
And
right
for a
now,
while...
we leave for
yeah, at least now, though,
we leave for food, and we leave for, I can't stand looking at these same four walls anymore.
Well, yeah, jeez.
Please let me leave.
You don't now, though, insist that we go through drive-thrus so that we don't have to make you converse with waiters, because you used to. You don't now, though.
I used to do that.
Now, we have cool friends, like our friendo Elric, who's a waiter at our favorite Chili's and runs the YouTube channel of Vape Train. Go check him out. He does a lot of Ark Survival Evolved. Anyway!
Let's see. Scott says, let's put it this way. My peopling tolerance for people around here is 0 to while at work.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it. Shield says, Vi isn't going to throw Ken under the bus, but Vi is going to run him over. Travis does this.
I've never heard it put quite that way. That's a good way to put
perfect.
it. I like that.
I
am going to reuse that.
She isn't only going to throw him under the bus. I'm going to run you over with it. Yep. Scott says, until I started playing models again, I stayed here unless I was at work. Yeah. I don't force it anymore. I used to be like, I don't want to interact at all with anybody ever. You do all the ordering. I will sit here and hope nobody tries to catch my eye. Because, fuck that. I'm not that bad anymore. I will go out and do things.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I get a little bit worried if I don't see our regular blood chilies after a while.
Yeah.
Like, I start being like, I hope they're okay.
Mm-hmm. And somewhere along the line, this turned into like a mental health podcast. I'm just sat here staring at the menu of Overwatch.
No, I'm tired. We haven't talked to them in like a month.
This is true. Because we missed you guys. We really have.
Like, it's not my fault that sometimes I'm just a chatterbox, like a crazy person.
It felt so weird not to stream for like 3 weeks in a row.
It did. No, it's just, I don't go anywhere often, honestly. I just vastly change what I do in the spaces I enjoy. And we missed y'all too. Aww.
Much appreciated.
Paris says podcast MD. Yeah, we found out that some of the symptoms I had that I didn't know might be anemia or low blood oxygen. Talking about mental health.
Talked about major channel news at the start of the stream.
Channel news. Let's see, Scott says Survarium Stream 3.0. I think we're on now. Podcast on Game Lobby. Awesome.
That's right, we did. That was our talking about like comics and Star Wars that time. I remember that.
The Star Wars we can talk about for hours.
Oh yeah.
Have.
Endlessly.
We'll probably again.
Endlessly. Well, especially when we do our year of Star Wars, which might happen next year.
That will happen. I'm pretty sure that's happening next year.
I think so.
Also, you're co-touring. Or I'll co-tour and you can sit in the seat, whichever one.
I think that's a good choice for you. Do you think mechanically I would enjoy playing it?
It's tough because it's essentially D&D. But you don't get to roll the thing, and you don't actively fight. You click and you choose your abilities. I'm not sure how much you'd enjoy it.
Because that's the thing is, it seems like similar.
How much do you like Mobius?
It's alright.
Or would you be just as happy watching it as you would playing it?
Probably, especially if I'm able to like relay my input to make certain choices, because it seems like it's similar, having watched you play it, to Dragon Age and to like Neverwinter Nights, and I didn't mechanically enjoy either of those.
Then I'll co-tour you side seat.
Okay. I think that's probably our...
We are co-touring.
Oh yeah. I'm absolutely...
It's my favorite game of all time.
I'm 110% in agreement. I just want to do it in such a way that we each enjoy it.
Yeah, so, yeah. I'll be at the helm.
Okay. Because I figure
if I'm at the helm, we're still playing a girl, though. Just so you know.
That's fair.
Because my Darth Revan is female. I don't care what you say, Tor. I don't care what you say.
The comics are against you too, just so you know.
I don't care. Those are not considered official.
That's true.
They are at the cutoff for legacy material.
They're now. What is it? They call it Legends, I think now.
They are not official. Unfortunately, Tor is. I hate you, Tor.
You know we're about to go off on a Star Wars tangent if we're not careful.
I don't care. Let's see. Pyrus has got to timestamp this stream. Announcements, Overwatch, medicalness, stay insideness.
The actual gameplay is just like a third of the stream.
Yeah. Scarlett says, yep. That guy says, howdy there, y'all. Nice to see you on the stream again. Sorry for being a lot of hours late. I was helping my mom work.
We were supposed to wrap like half an hour ago.
But we got to say hi.
Yeah.
We'll take it. Scarlett says, now watch. There'll be another half hour of at least the Star Wars. And Pyrus says, well, episode 8 comes out next month.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Scarlett says, hey, that guy, you missed the podcast. Pyrus says, as far as I'm concerned, unless a new canon thing directly conflicts with Legends is still canon.
Well, through some of the games, they've recanonized.
Certain things of it.
Stuff,
so you can take that, but official canon, Disney has said that it's the movies and then anything published after the date that they took the license. Can be considered canon.
Yeah, which is why several of the new novels are considered canon. Some of the new games.
And the new games do canonize some of the old legacy stuff, like some of the characters that weren't in any of the actual movies are canonized in that. The TV series are
Clone Wars and
canonized.
Rebels, they're canonized.
The games are not canonized unless they came out after.
So unless they're relatively new.
Yeah, so unless they're relatively new, they're not canonized. Like Force Unleashed is not canon.
They have recanonized certain parts of Jango Fett's story, however, so one might make the argument that at least parts of the old Star Wars Bounty Hunter game are again, semi-canon. They're not strictly so, though.
Yeah. Let's see. Noah says, well, if y'all want to continue to refuse to rap, I'll be in the Discord later. Sheila says, guess I'm going to have to watch what I missed when stream is over.
Oh, you missed a fair amount.
Scott says, okay, Star Wars podcast time. Yay! Actually, I'm pretty much done.
Yeah,
I'm gonna cut it.
I think we should because we really can talk about Star Wars for
hours
upon hours.
Start a stream, and 4 hours later, we'll still be talking about Star Wars. Like, we can start by talking about Star Wars, and we're still talking about it 4 hours later.
We know this because we have done this on road trips.
We have. We 3.5 hours worth of one topic.
The drive from here to the town we used to live in for like college and my old job is about a 3-hour drive. The drive from here to our new family land is about a 2.5 to 3 hour drive. We have talked about Star Wars for the entirety of several of those drives.
As well as other
among other topics. Star Wars is just it's an easy one to fill that time with.
That guy says Star Wars canon is such a freaking mess.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, it is. Pirate says, since Darth Bane is canon, and since in Legends Darth Bane made the rule of 2 after finding a Revan holocron, I consider Revan still canon. Since it's supposed to be appear as some kind of Force visionary thing in the unfinished season of Clone Wars.
The Old Republic canonized
the
Revan.
Old Republic did canonize Revan, and as far as they're concerned, he's male.
Yeah.
I'm upset about that. I'm actually upset that the comics existed, because part of the thing that I loved so much about KOTOR is that even though it didn't change essentially how things ended, whether because Revan goes off and does his own their own thing.
You could still make certain elements of the story your own.
Yeah, and you could be either.
Yeah.
And it still worked as either.
Yeah.
And
it was similar to the Elder Scrolls, where like the hero of Tamriel is just referred to as such or as they, and not as a specific gendered pronoun.
Like, so it bothered me that they canonized things that part of the charm was that it wasn't. It could be whatever.
Yeah,
like that was part of the. It would, to me, that would be like permanently, truly canonizing whether Shepard is male.
Yeah. Or like the Nerevarine of Morrowind or something.
Yeah, like to me, that's what it was. Is they essentially canonized who Shepard is via books, or rather via comics, and then again in Tor.
Actually, I wonder. Come to think of it, speaking of Mass Effect, did they canonize Shepard in the comics?
They might have in the comics, but they also might not have, because none of those focus on Shepard.
Well, that's the thing, though, is we saw just the other day that there are apparently more comics than we thought.
I'm pretty sure those will, if they put Shepard in them, they'll be they or just Commander Shepard.
Yeah, possibly. I don't know. I'm curious if any of you guys know the answer to that. I'm curious to know.
Let's see. Pyre says, I want to be on one of the Star Wars drives. And Revan was male before the Old Republic, but yes, does annoy people. I can see why it would.
Yeah.
Another hour of Mass Effect to the science fair. But yeah, the old Revan was male before the Old Republic.
Because that came from the comics.
That came from the comics. The comics are the ones that specified that Revan was male.
Yeah. And what's weird is they didn't initially. The first few comic mentions of Revan were just naming them Revan and then referring to them as they, or with their like military title. And it was then later comics that then started to attach male pronouns.
Yep.
So it's like someone had the thought of preserving the flexibility of the character, and then later on down the line it just sort of stopped.
Which is why I really wish they hadn't done that, because that was part of the charm of that story, was that you could be either.
Yeah.
And even within the story itself, within KOTOR, like, as you're doing it, when you go through it, you already know the twist. So it's not really spoiling it for you.
Right.
Basically, when anybody in-game talks about Revan, they never specify. So you never know, as a player, whether Revan is male or female. It's essentially up to you to assume. Yeah. And the robes that Revan wears
very androgynous.
Are very androgynous. So you don't actually, like, no one ever specifies Part of that is so that they didn't have to repeat lines or they didn't have to change the text dialogue.
Yeah.
Part of it is so the mystery of who Revan is kept in lore.
Well, and it enables the twist.
It enables the twist. That guy says, "Oh crap! Before I forget, Ken, get Darkest Dungeon when it next goes on sale for $10. It is so good.
Oh, I know. I've
Praying
seen people stream
as
it.
the RNG gods that your only highwayman or a cultist doesn't die."
My favorite stream that I've ever seen of Darkest Dungeon was of my favorite dark fantasy author playing it. I got a chance to watch Wes Schneider play. Yes.
Oh,
I got a chance to watch Wes Schneider
yeah.
play Darkest Dungeon. For anyone who doesn't know that name, he's written several of the Pathfinder Tales novels, which is where I got the look at how good of a writer he is. He's also one of the most prolific of Paizo's lore writers. He recently left the company to work full time on his novel writing. However, any module about the lore of the Pathfinder setting that he contributed to, any of them, they're all golden.
Yeah.
They are fantastic, every last one of them.
Okay.
And so to see him play a dark fantasy game like that, I'm like, yes! This is Wes in his element!
So, back to...
Yeah.
Pirate says, which is strange, because they didn't have to canonize Revan's gender.
They didn't.
Since you can very easily check up Star Wars as being told by someone as a story or legend, so after 3,000 years, people could easily forget what gender someone was.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, they didn't have to canonize it, but they did.
Yeah.
Scott says, I just realized I've had Fallout 4 minimized for the last 2 hours. Ooh.
Your poor processor.
That guy says, oh, Star Wars and Mouse Effect are cool too, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm done now. I'm tired.
You good? You checking out?
Yes, I'm checking out. I'm
Even our dog is giving us the look are you guys done?
He gave me the puppy dog eyes. The true puppy dog eyes.
Yeah, I've talked about this in the past. I generally don't like showing him on camera for safety concerns for him, because I've unfortunately had dogs abducted from my home in the past. Not while we live here, thankfully. It's just still in my life. So I'm overprotective. I'll admit I am paranoid about the safety of my dog. So you guys can't see it. He was just he's under my desk, and he just poked up his head in my knees, just giving me that stare, just can we go now?
Yup.
So
we're just gonna have to. Doggo probs needs to pee at this point, says Pyro.
Probably, because I think he's only gone outside once today, so we need to take him out.
Actually, yeah. Is that what? Yeah.
Yeah, he's giving us that look can we go? So.
Okay. We get it, boy.
So, all in all...
Podcast over. Where's
my logo? There it is. Oh, it's because the game process just hadn't fully finished closing out.
Alright, got it.
So yeah, we have missed you guys.
We've missed you. We're happy to be back.
Yeah, very much so.
Look forward to the changes we've mentioned. We'll do official announcements for everything.
We're not going to do them all at once. We're going to do them one at a time. The first of the side channels to launch is going to end up the live stream archive, because I think having those alongside our other short formats is part of what's really sunk our search relevance and view counts and stuff. So that's one of the first things we're going to push off onto a side channel is the live stream archive. So they're all still going to get archived.
They're all going to be archived. They're all going to be in one place.
Yeah.
I'll put them in their own playlists.
Yeah.
So you can get all from every series, all in their own thing.
Yeah. So that's going to get officially announced on the channel proper in the next few days.
And then we will
honestly,
tell everybody about it the next couple of times we stream.
I'm not going to set a hard and fast deadline for any of this, because it's going to take a mountain of work.
It's going to be when it's going to be.
Exactly.
Basically.
That's what I'm going to make a point of in the announcement for each of these side channels that we launch. They're going to launch, when they're ready when they're ready. So like I said, the first one is going to end up the live streams, then several of the others that we have plans for. So that is going to occupy a fair amount of her time. And
so unfortunately, there will not be Vi stuff for a while.
Yeah, her time is going to get spent on that.
Yeah. So
we are going to make an effort though to do some more of our co-hosted series.
But there's probably not gonna be just straight Vi content for a while.
We're gonna return to Pokemon Uranium. We're gonna do some more Long Live the Queen. We're gonna do what was the other one?
Landstalker.
Yeah, Landstalker we were doing together.
Which I actually really enjoy. We just
yeah,
have
I
to
know,
get
it's like
back to the point we were
Sega
at
Zelda.
because you
Yeah,
forgot to
I know, 'cause
save.
I forgot to save, and then I like rage quit.
That's because,
Rage quit at myself, not at the game.
Yeah.
So anyway, all of that is just to say that sort of pardon our dust, as it were, as we make some changes over the next few weeks and months, because there's a lot coming.
Will you go to your chat? Because I can't read mine from here.
I'll have to open it on my phone. My phone apparently never loaded chat.
Okay, never mind.
Whoop! Sorry, guys.
Whew. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Ooh, let's see. Noah says, well, in like 30 minutes I'll be in Discord if y'all are down. Gonna shower and such. Thanks for the stream.
Yeah, we're gonna go get
Pyro says, oh, it's 5 a.m. Sarcastic, yay. Sheila's saying goodnight. Pyro saying goodnight.
Cheers, y'all.
Everybody's saying goodnight. So it says, good night, can't wait for more nutmonger. Pyro says, time to try and not sleep till 3 p.m. That guy says, hashtag nutmonger web series.
Well, there are 10 days worth coming soon.
Scarlett says, oh, did y'all see Extra Credits launched a new series on Sci-Fi?
Oh, I didn't see that.
No, I did not.
We'll have to check them out on VidMe, because they're actually on there. So,
alright, we are heading out.
Yeah, so we will check you guys later. Thank you all kindly for sticking around with us and rejoining us. It's always a small panic attack whenever we have to take these long trips away, because, again, internet relevance, it is fleeting. So the fact that you guys continue to show up even after these long periods of absence, it means a lot for us, and
so thank you.
It's great support to continue to receive from you guys. So, cheers, hats off to you. So anyway, thank you all kindly for watching. I'm Kinsler here at Decibel Press.
I'm Violeta.
And as always, we wish you all good gaming and Godspeed.
Bye. It's good to be back.
It is. Feels good, man. Feels good.